All right, if you drive a white Toyota Tundra, it's about to be towed. It's in a reserved spot. White Toyota Tundra. You need to go out and move your vehicle. White Toyota Tundra. If that's you, go get it before they do. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. We're going to kick this thing off. You guys ready? All right, some people are ready. Apologize for my voice. I blew it out. I was talking on the phone too much yesterday and meeting with clients. So before we get started, we got a couple housekeeping things that we all want to make sure that we are covering. If you do not know, bathrooms are out the back, slightly to the right. We have some upcoming events. Upcoming in March is Cabo, and in January is going to be Maui. Who's going to Cabo? Raise your hand if you're going to Cabo. Woo woo! All right, guys, love it. All right, so this event could not happen. Here, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. All right, I think we got some crowd control. All right, so we got two events coming up really soon. One is happening in January in Maui. The next one is happening March in Cabo. You do not want to miss those. They're going to be fun. And this event would not happen. We could not get somebody of the caliber of Verl Workman without Brent Gove. So please, everybody, give it a big round of applause for Brent Gove. And without the help of our sponsors. So in the back, we have American Pacific Mortgage with JJ Mack and Lindsay Boris. Everybody say hi to them. And then we have Mr. Barry Mathis. Barry Mathis, come on up here. Let's hear more about your business. Now we got your attention. All right, everybody. Round of applause for Broker Barry.
Thank you. Hey, guys, I'm really excited because today's event is going to help you. If you take the notes, it's going to really help you sell more business. If you don't know me, I've done most of my business with investors, and that led me into property management. And as you start selling more homes, then we're going to be able to manage those homes for you. So that's why I'm so excited. So we pay a $500 referral fee for every property, every owner that you bring over to us. And then we also will guarantee in writing that transaction comes back to you when it's time to buy or sell. You know who I am, so you know if I'm out there snagging your deals. So I won't snag your deals. And this is Lauren, and she's one of our new property managers. Have a great day today. Take lots of notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. All right. So I heard a quote recently, and it goes, "You have to be smart enough to make a plan and dumb enough to follow it." Right? And so, but the quality of the plan also dictates the quality of the outcome. Can we agree? So that's why we have Mr. Verl Workman today. But rather than me share about all the accolades and just how pivotal and important this man can be in your business, we thought we'd bring somebody up whose life and whose business has actually been changed by his processes. Miss Cindy Silva, please come to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to see all your beautiful faces out here. As I'm looking around, I see a little bit of everything. I see a lot of newbies here, so good job for showing up. Take the notes. You're going to learn so much today. I also see a lot of veterans out there. The reason veterans are here is we're kind of in a shifty market. Sometimes we forget how to go back to our roots, remember our whys, or remember our goals, so thank you for showing up. And then I see a lot of you guys, too, are kind of stuck in the middle. And I want to share a story that I was stuck in the middle, too. In 2019, I was making the best money that I ever had. However, I was continuing to make that same money over and over again. And I knew I had more in me. I knew I could do better than this. So I went to my mentor, my team lead, Brent Gove, and he said, "Cindy, it's time for you to get a coach and start your own team." Okay, I'll do that. So I spent about 6 months interviewing coaches. This was a very hard decision because, as some of you know, coaching costs as much as a mortgage payment sometimes. So you want to make sure that you make the right decision. So in 2019, I joined Workman Success Systems. And I picked them because they have a system for every single person out there. No matter which way you run your business, whether they're a cold caller, a door knocker, relationship-based like me, they have systems for everybody. Now, I want to tell you my experience. In 2019, fast forward to 1 year. In 1 year, you guys, I tripled my GCI. That's right, tripled it with Workman Success Systems. I was just a one-person team, me and my TC. Since then, I've grown to a team of 9. I was just recognized as the top 1,000 of Real Trends and Real Producers Top 500. So I am the proof that this does work. So I'm going to ask something from you guys. Can I get everyone to stand up? Because I want to give Verl the warmest, loudest welcome. Can we introduce to the stage a national speaker, a business consultant, the guru of systems, Verl Workman!
Okay. Oh, you got to push the on button. That was an awesome introduction, and thank you so much for that. By the way, where'd she go? Okay, on the road with me from now on. I want you to open up every time I speak. You get to come with me. So today is day 10 of a 10-day road trip. I started in Dallas, Texas. Got to watch the Cowboy game in the suite of Jerry Jones. How cool is that? Cowboy fans? Yeah, I don't get it, but whatever. I was a fan for a day. And so that was great. Then we were in Washington, D.C., and then Seattle, and then here, and I'm glad to be here. I'm also, as it's the last day of a 10-day road trip, that's a long road trip. I had to bring a whole bag. I brought a big bag. I'm also excited to go home because it's been a minute. As a father, and I'll tell you a little bit about my family as we get started here today, and why we started Workman Success, is 2 things. Number 1, I don't believe that any other success can compensate for failure in the home. Meaning, I'll help you double and triple and quadruple your income, but I won't do it at the expense of your family or your faith or your friends or your fun or your fitness. Well, fitness or food, I use those interchangeably. Those are my 2 things, and I'm serious about that. When we built this business, we started almost 9 years ago. My daughter and I had gotten off stage at a conference. We're actually at Boomtown. Boomtown and others hire me to come in and help them train and convert leads. And I got off stage, and my partners fired me. At 50, I'm 50 years old, and first of all, I own a third of the business. How do you fire me? Second of all, why? I'm a cash cow. And I walked off stage, and they were like, yeah, we decided we're going to let you go. 2 of the partners had decided they were going to buy out the lead, and I was in the way of that coming together. So I remember calling my wife. I picked up the phone, and I said, first of all, I didn't say anything. My daughter's with me, and she's like, Dad, why aren't you talking? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just focused. We were going to go to Louis Vuitton and buy something for her mother, but we ended up going straight to the airport. And finally, she says, are you going to talk to me? And I says, yeah, I got fired. She's like, what? I said, it's okay. You still have a job. She said, I'm working there. So we got on the plane, and I asked Brianne to get on the Wi-Fi, and she was in the back, and I was in the front. I have more miles. And I remember this moment very specifically because I remember just kind of closing my eyes and having a silent prayer and said, all right, I got about 4 hours to figure this out. And we got online and we built a mind map. And in this mind map, we had a vision of what Workman was going to be. And I started with my values. I said, I want to build a business that my family would want to be part of. Now that's like, how many of you wish your kids would come in the business? You see them out there struggling, but you know how much opportunity's here. But so many kids don't want to be in real estate because they see how their parents do it and they have no life. And so they're like, I'm not doing that. And so I want to build a business that my family would want to be part of. And the second thing is I wanted to build a business that wasn't about me. It was about the people that we attract. And so I call it the wisdom of our crowd. And you know what I'm talking about. And so we built this mind map, and I landed home in Salt Lake, sat down with my wife. I met my daughter, and I sat down with my wife at the kitchen table, and we said, this is what we're going to build. This is what it's going to look like. This is how much money it's going to cost, and this is how long it's going to take us. It took 15 years to build a business that generated $1 million a year in revenue. With Workman Success Systems, we did it in 6 months. What happened is because we had a very, very clear vision of what we wanted it to be. My daughter, who is the president of the company, she's 32 years old now. She has 3 of my granddaughters, and she just had number 4, her first grandson, who is already, I think they've already applied to USC, and they think he's going to be a professional. They're Polynesian, so his name is Samisi Ika. And he's the cutest little kid. He's a Raider fan and a USC fan. He's 6 weeks old. Like but he's fully dressed in the garbs, and he has the greatest sneakers. Anyway, so that's the company. And I remember my daughter saying to me, okay, it can't be about you. It was Verl Workman seminars, it was Verl Workman systems, it was Verl Workman coaching, and she says, it can't be about you anymore, and so we changed it to Workman Success Systems. And instead of being about Verl, it's about the systems that we... All right, there you go, I came back. It's about the people we attract and the systems that we run that create greatness. And here's what I've learned. I've learned that greatness is predictable. Greatness is predictable. We can tell by the activities you focus on what your outcome is going to be, and we track everything at such a high level that we're able to actually see it. I'll share with you a few of the systems today, but I'm going to get into predictable greatness, because if you want to go from where you are to a different stratosphere, here's one thing I know for sure. You can't keep doing what you're doing right now, because what you're doing now has got you here. But if you want to go to a different place, we have to start thinking differently about what's possible. Let me ask you all a question. How many of you believe, let's start this right now, that there's another level that you could be performing at in your business? Yeah. Like, do you really believe it? Yeah. Okay, so I believe you do. And so we believe there's another level, but how are we going to get there? I want everybody to write down, we're going to get into the business plans, and this is going to be a workshop. This isn't a talking head today. I'm going to come down there, we're going to work it out. But I want everybody to write down their 2024 income goal from real estate. We'll talk about your pillar of attraction a little bit later, but I want to focus on your real estate practice, because Brent brings me in because I'm practical and tactical. We're here to help you build, I want you to build a 7-figure business or bigger. I don't know what your goals are, but that's where I start. So write down whatever your goals are, whatever your goal is for 2024, your income goal. We'll talk about, and I promise you we'll get into the attraction pillar. All right, who's got a goal? Somebody give me a number. And those of you that are online, you can go into the chat and text it in, and somebody will come up and tell me what you wrote down. Somebody give me a number. 150,000 a month? Oh, a year, okay. Now, what's the difference between someone doing 150,000 a month and 150,000 a year? I'm going to tell you right now that it's not the quality of the person, because we have amazing people getting average results. And we have average people getting amazing results. The difference is the activities you focus on. So would it be a big deal? Can we just write 300? Sure. Okay, so if you're going to play, let's play big. Everybody okay with that? I mean, if you're going to take time away from family to go to work, how about we make it worth it? Okay, 300. Somebody else give me a number. 500 GCI. Okay, double it. Put $1 million. Now we're going to play. We're going to.
Verl. Oh, yeah. Like I can work. I don't have any pockets in this shirt. Okay, I got $1 million, I got 500. What's your number? You're still thinking about it? Okay, here's a quote for everybody. You ready for this? For a ship bound for no harbor, no wind is favorable. If you don't know where you want to go, I absolutely cannot help you get there. Like, there is nothing I can say. So get clear, right? What makes a difference for you? Like, what would be impactful in your life? Like, so let's you and I, do you work because you need the money, or do you work just because something to do? A little bit of both. You need the money. You want to win? All right, so let's shoot for 500,000. I don't feel like you're fully committed to that. I feel like you just threw a number out there. So we're going to have a little life coaching here for just a minute. So if you made $500,000, how would that change your life? I'm sorry?
Oh, I said I would be single.
You would be single. Now, I appreciate you joking. Does your husband know?
Not yet.
But now we can joke about this, folks, but I've had people come to me and say, I finally have the confidence to be able to do what I should have done 10 years ago, but I couldn't afford.
And so I've stayed in a toxic relationship. And I never want that for anybody, but I understand it. And I understand when things don't work out. So how does 500,000 change? What does that change for you?
Well, I have crazy plans.
You have crazy plans? Like what? You want to travel? Or do you pay for your kids' colleges? I mean, what happens when you have an extra $500,000? You want to think about it?
Yeah, build a lot of houses.
You want to build homes. Why? You like houses?
To help housing crisis.
Okay, you want to build houses to help people get homes, but how does that impact you? My mic works again? So I'm a two-fisted micer. Give me the mic. So I'm asking this question because you're all going to have to answer this. And so I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I want everybody to be uncomfortable. If I don't make you just a little bit uncomfortable, I am absolutely the wrong coach. And so, like, I'm not here to butter you up or make you feel wonderful. I'm here to actually see if you can get to that level deeper to understand what really drives you. Because I've learned that you won't do the hard things if you don't have a clear, motivating purpose. A real why. And it's not superficial. Oh, I want to have a better life. I want to have a better family. It's a bunch of crap. I want to know, like, most people, here's what we really want when you get down to it, is we want to be loved. We want to eliminate financial stress in our homes because most of our fights are around we don't have the money. We want to be able to do the right thing to make a difference in other people's lives when someone is struggling, whether it's our family or our friends or somebody from the church or somebody in Africa. Like, you want to do something to change the world. And unless you identify that core motivating value, that's something inside of you that will make you do hard things, I think that we just get kind of stuck doing the same thing over and over because it just doesn't really matter. And so I really want you to think deeply. And maybe you don't feel like you're in a safe place because there's only a few hundred people in the room and maybe a few thousand online. And so you don't want to share with everybody. But I'll tell you, if you yell it out and you really announce it to the world, it becomes a little more real to you. It becomes absolutely real to you. Okay. So as we talk about our numbers, we have 1,300,000, 500,000. Anybody have a different number they want to throw on the board? Yes. What's your number?
4 new escrows for buyers a month. 2 new listings per month. 4 listing appointments per month. 1 pending listing. 2 closed.
Okay. Now, tell me what that means to you. What will that generate?
Enough income to market and brand more and then build out.
I want you to define enough. He says it'll give me enough income to be able to brand and market, but I want to know what that means. How much income?
Well, I've hit the 500 GCI, so I'm trying to hit $1 million.
You've hit here and you want to go to $1 million. $1 million, first $1 million gross, then we're going to hit $1 million net.
No, $1 million. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was like, okay.
I said $1 million.
1.2 million. Okay. All right. So you got granular. We're going to do that as the day goes on. Would it be okay if everybody, like, I've got a slide deck and I'll show you some slides, but I want to get what you really want to take out of this meeting today. And so if you want me to show you how to get to $1 million and give you a clear path for it, I will do it. You guys want to see it later? Okay, if you don't, it's okay. I'll just do slides and we can talk about the stuff. But if you want to get granular, and I'll show you how we do it every day and it's predictable. But you have to follow a very specific formula and you have to be willing to do hard things. And here's what I can't do. I can't help you if you don't determine or understand or really get clear with me on what it is that is your clear why. Let me give you a couple of examples. I had a lady one time come to me in Arizona. I think Brent's in Arizona right now. And I had a lady come to me in Arizona, and she came up after the end of the event. She says, I need to make $300,000. I'm like, okay, why? She says, well, I just know I can, and I'm willing to work really hard for it. I'm like, yeah, but why? And she says, well, I mean, just our combined income, it just would make a big difference in our life. I'm like, okay, well, how? And she's like, why do you keep asking me that? And I said, well, I want you to go sit down. I want you to think about what really happens when you make $300,000. And she came back to me, and with emotion, she said, my husband's the diving coach at ASU, and he's working in 120-degree summers outside teaching diving. He's killing himself, and I want him to be able to quit. Okay, I can work with that. Like, so now when I say, here are the things you need to do, and you say no, I say, oh, are you stocking up on sunscreen? Because if that's really important to her, she gets what I mean, right? I don't, I can put my finger in the pain and make you feel it just a little bit. And then you're willing to say, that's right, that's why I do this hard thing. That's why I knock on more doors. That's why I make more dials. That's why I have more conversations every day. I had a lady in Texas say, this is a single mom with 2 boys. She said, I never want to rely on a man again to take care of my sons. She was making $250. Last year she made $3.4 million. She's gone, and her big goal is $500,000. And then one day I said to her, a month? And she said, stop it, with her cute little Texas accent. Stop it. All right. Okay, so in order to build a plan, let's do it. So here's what I've learned. I've learned that whatever it is that you focus on, the thing that you spend your time focusing on or your energy on becomes your truth. If you focus on the high interest rates and the negative feeling in the marketplace, the class action lawsuits, if you watch the news, it's negative. And if you focus on it, it becomes your truth. How many of you are like just tired of it and you're just done focusing on the crap and are ready to focus on something more positive? Here's what I've learned. I've learned that the river of real estate is a real thing. We did a study, and we wanted to know how many people move and why they move. Did you know that the key motivators in why people move have zero to do with interest rates? People move because of, yeah, yell them out. They move because of life changes that happen. They get married, they get divorced, they upsize, they downsize. They want to move where their kids are. They want their kids to play sports in a different school. There's all of these different reasons people move. And there's 2 things you need to know. Number 1 is they don't care about you. They only care about themselves and why they're moving. You're a tool in the process. I just want to be their sharpest tool. And I'm serious about that. They don't care about, like, nobody moves because of you, unless you're a lousy neighbor, which I don't believe that. They move because of what's going on in their own lives. So you have to understand they're going to move regardless of whether or not you're doing the activities that keep you at the front of their mind. So you have to decide that you're going to be at the front of the mind of everybody you know, so at the moment that life event occurs, they think of you first. Make sense? Okay. And I'm just telling you, popping by with a jar of jam is not what they need right now. What they need excellence and expertise. We have moved into what I call as a skills-based market. You can't just be average anymore. I think I have a slide for that. Okay, we're going to build a plan. Okay, everybody grab this. I'm going to give you, there's stuff in my deck today that I added at 9:05. And there's some tools that only our coaching clients have access to that I'm going to talk about and this is the slide for that. Make sure you grab this because these are modules that we use to message to the marketplace that elevate our experience. And they use emotional intelligence to get people off the sideline and re-engaged. And so I'm just going to give you this stuff. So I'm going to talk fast. You're not going to be able to write everything down. So I'm giving you this now. So later you go, wait, can I have that? Yes, you can. Okay? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Okay. And these are like my good ones. Okay, I'm done. So I'll put it up again later. So here's the thing. The difference between average and exceptional is a thin line. It's a very, very thin line that separates average from exceptional. Would anybody like to guess what that thin line is that separates the average from the exceptional? Habits, work ethic, education, consistency, focus, none of those. Mindset, persistence. I love all these. These are all accurate. Let me tell you what it is. Accountability. And accountability is not what you think it is. Okay, tell me your name. Julia. Okay, Julia, we just met. I don't know anything about Julia, but I do know this. She's not going to do anything she doesn't want to do. Look, she didn't even have to answer me. I could see it in her body language. Everything about her disposition was like, that's right. It's just true. And so the concept of me making you do something you don't want to do is not what accountability is. Accountability is a myth. It's not something I can do to someone. It's a choice that you make to live with integrity with yourself. most of us would go out like have you ever said to a client, if I say it's going to happen, it's going to happen. My word is my what? And we do a really good job of keeping all the commitments we make. How many of you actually believe that? Like if you say it, it's happening. In every area of your life except when you say it to who? Come on, how many of you said you were going to go to the gym every day, 5 days a week, and didn't do it? Right? But when you hire a trainer and you have to meet him there, you show up, right? Okay, because you've made the choice and you've made an investment and now you have accountability. Accountability is love. It's not something you do to someone that doesn't want it. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's when we decide that we're going to do something together, you make a commitment to do it, and then you have somebody that cares about you enough to ask you if you're actually keeping the commitment you made to yourself. You said you were going to do that. You told me why it was important. Is it still important? So, but you didn't do it, so should we focus a little bit differently? We want to change directions. A great coach is like a built-in GPS. Think about that. Hey, I have to be careful when I say this because my phone answers. You say, hey, Siri, take me somewhere good. Where are you going to go? Somewhere good. You don't know, right? How do you know? It's going to wander you around. Have you ever been on the road or you put an address in something and you think you know better than the GPS? And then you get off on an exit and there's all and then you get off, and then what does it say? Mine does it with an English accent. Mine says, recalculating. Make a U-turn, right? And then it gets louder. I told you, you idiot, make a U-turn. Are you daft? Okay, so a good coach is like a GPS that has the ability to see where you are and where you want to go from a different perspective, like from a satellite. And then when you get off track, they look down and they go, oh, yeah, make a U-turn. Let's refocus here and let's head this direction. Because if you keep going where you're headed, you're going to end up at a very different location. The difference between average and exceptional is accountability. And accountability is when you make the choice to move from below that line to above the line. There's a great book written by Roger Connors, and it's called The Oz Principle. And if you want to read a good book, The Oz Principle it's a journey about the people of the Wizard of Oz. And he talks about how, the scarecrow and the lion and Dorothy and the dog, everybody has a part in it. They all wanted something great they believed they only get from Oz. When they get to Oz, they find out that's a farce. And Oz tells them, you already had a heart. You already had a brain. You already had courage. You already had the ability to go home. You just needed to apply yourself differently. But during this journey, they were all living below the line. It was somebody else's job. My broker didn't give me any leads. The interest rates were too high. I couldn't get anybody insured. Boy, you haven't heard of any of these, have you? Right? These are all excuses where we look outward to blame people for our failure to hit our goals. When you move above the line, there's a very specific process. The process is when you see a problem, objection, or a threat, you first recognize it, you see it. The second step is you own it. Whose problem is it? It's my problem. It's not my broker's problem. It's not my spouse's problem. It's not my kid's problem. It's not my leader's problem. My problem. You first see it, then you own it. Then you solve it. How am I going to solve this problem? We can't change the market. We can only change how we behave in the market. I think this is the greatest market we could be in because everybody else is scared and they're sitting on the sidelines waiting for things to change. And what we do is we go after their market share. Right? This is the time. Everybody else is sitting back going, oh, what should I do? You should keep thinking that. And let me go get your people. Because people still have life events that are occurring. The river of real estate's continuing to flow. And you're sitting on you don't even have a line in the water. Hey, I sure wish these fish would get in my net. Sure wish that would happen because we're living below the line. We see it, we own it, we solve it. And then the last step is you actually do it. And when you start, see, own it, solve it, do it, you move above the line and your whole life changes. Because now you've incorporated accountability and you actually are changing behavior. And that's what happens. All right. So the average agent in a market like this, we used to have an action-based market. So let me explain this to you. This comes from one of my master coaches, Mike Koch, out of Wisconsin. And Mike was thinking about one day, he says, okay, Verl, I've really struggled with this. It seems like in the last 3 years, if all you had to do was show up, we were in a heavy action market. If you were a little bit active in real estate, you sold some houses. How many of you enjoyed that? right? And so where it says void right there, those used to be our activities. We would do events, we'd show up at them, people talk real estate, and they go, can you help me? I'll help you. And we had an action-based market. Well, with a limited plan and the right actions, you could sell houses. The average agent doesn't know how to fill that void where the actions used to generate results. And so that void is now what I call it fake work. They've replaced positive action with the pretending of being busy, but not actually focusing on anything that moves them closer to their goals. Some call it Facebook. I want you to think about how many hours you spend away from family, and if you would be willing to pay someone $1,000 an hour to do the same tasks you were doing during that time. And if the answer is no, you shouldn't be doing the task. Because I can never take you to that place where you're making so much money that you make all your decisions because it's something you should do or not do, and money is not the issue. How many of you want to have that in your life? Like, we just make decisions because it's the right thing. Right. I mean, I have 6 kids. You know we're going to screw some of them up. And when they screw up, they have issues, and they are expensive problems. Right? I mean, I'm a pretty good parent, but still, man, you have 5, you get it. Well, if you were from Salt Lake, 5's like, not even a good start. It's like, you're not even a player. You're not even a player. All right, so what have we changed? We've gone from a action-based market to what we call is a skills-based market. And so now, with the right focused activity, a very clear plan, and activities that generate the highest ROT, return on time away from family, the right skills, those are the agents that are going to dominate in this marketplace. People don't need someone that can show them houses and open doors. That's a $25 an hour task. Sorry, you buyer's agents, but it's truth. What I'm saying is people need someone who is excellent at negotiation, someone who's creative and knows how to get deals done. So we've got to be able to figure out how to message to the market to take a negative emotion of feeling stuck and frustrated to optimistic and moving forward. And we do that with the right kind of communication. So the way you're reaching out to people, how do you answer the question, how's it going? Oh, so you lie. No, you really believe it's going great. Like, I'm serious about that for just a minute. Like, someone says, they know you're in real estate. Everybody knows you're a realtor, right? Right? How many of you are practicing secret agency? What do? It depends. Come on, what do? We're real estate. People know you're in real estate. They say, how you doing? If you answer with great, even though you say it with enough enthusiasm, you hope they'll believe you, it's a bunch of crap. They know you're in real estate. They want to know how you're doing. How's the market? What's really going on? Why? Because they all have real estate, or they know people that have problems or issues. They don't know how to move forward, and they're looking for someone to answer the question differently. How you doing? Unbelievable. There you go. Take it up another notch of lying. Let me just, all right, so I've been playing with this. Now, so I'm a little bit whack. So, if you're walking with me and I'm talking, just don't assume I'm talking to you. Because I'm doing dialogue and I'm practicing my scripts and I'm figuring out how I'm going to say something different. My wife, when we first got married, she seriously thought I was schizophrenic. She's like, hey, who's in there with you? I'm like, oh, I'm just talking. So I've been playing with some but we've been married 37 years, by the way. My wife is like, she is an angel. She's been through everything. Like, she is a rock star. I'm just saying there's not enough Louis Vuitton in the world for her. I would like whatever she wants. My wife's amazing. All right, so it's truth. There is not enough Louis Vuitton in the world for my wife. Matter of fact, I went into the mall just yesterday, and I walked into the Louis Vuitton store because I always look for what's new. What are the unique things? And the lady, she was sweet. She's like, well, what does she have? And I'm like, just pull up her account. And she was like, oh. When we first got married, like, I was totally poor. I was selling satellite dishes and hot tubs. And like when we went on our honeymoon, we drove to St. George, Utah. And I got a flat tire, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have any money to buy a new tire. Like, we were so poor. And I finally traded a guy, after being married 2 years, the use of his condo in Kauai for his down payment on a satellite dish. And so we went to Kauai, and I gave my wife $550 for our spending money. You know what she did? She walked into the store and bought a handbag. And I said, honey, that's all our money. She says, you're going to need some more. Like, I am not kidding you. All right. So we moved into this. I've got to talk faster or we're not going to get through this today. We've moved into a skills-based market. That means that the agents with the higher skills, when someone says, how you doing? Try this. I'm blessed. I'm helping a lot of people take advantage of the great opportunities in the market right now. Why do you ask? I'm sorry, we're out of time. I just say I'm blessed. I'm helping a lot of people take advantage of the unbelievable deals that are in the market right now. We're also helping a lot of buyers who are on the sidelines find creative ways to get inside a home when they didn't think it was possible. Why do you ask? Like, finish it with why do you ask? Because people say, oh, no, I was just wondering how you were doing. Yeah, I'm blessed. And I really feel that way. So you have to be genuine and sincere. Does that feel different than how you doing? Unbelievable. I love that answer, by the way, because it's like no matter what's going on in my day, I'm going to be unbelievable. But let's help people. Like, we're in a skills-based market, but we're also in a serve-based market, meaning that we have to help people regardless of whether they use us or not, because people are stressed and confused and they're struggling. Before the pandemic, we used to say serve before opportunity. You do not want to be a motivational speaker in the middle of a pandemic. Now, I just want you to think about my life. So I'm part of a mastermind group. It's called the $1 Million Speaker Group. You have to make $1 million a year as a speaker to be in it. There's no posers in the group. Everybody's good. And I watched in 2 weeks millions of dollars evaporate from the calendars of all these professional speakers in 2-3 days. They went from being fully booked keynoters to can you imagine? And that's all they had. And I remember sitting down with my daughter and my 2 sons. All 3 of my married kids work with me today. And we had a conversation and we said, what do you want to do? And they said, we looked at our financials and we looked at the business and we said, you know what? We're good. If we don't sell a single coaching client or do a single event for a year, our business is fine and we don't have to let anybody go. And so we changed our motto from serve before opportunity to serve regardless of opportunity. And I'll tell you what, I get goosebumps when I think about it because number one, the way it made me feel to have passive income. That's why you're here, isn't it? I mean, how many of you are with EXP because you believe in the dream? You believe in having you're in a great place. And so here we are, and we want to have some passive income. And then we started doing webinars. I did 100 webinars in probably 45 days, and we just gave them to everybody. We created how to be a master of virtual real estate, how to do virtual open houses. We're coaching people in Westchester, New York, where everything was down, where one person on the team, everybody on the team lost somebody close to them because of COVID. We had people all over the world that were just changing the way they did things because of COVID, and here's what I've learned. I learned that when I stopped selling and we started serving, our business grew. I can't believe that we grew in the middle of a freaking pandemic when we used to say events drive revenue and we weren't doing any. Think about that. And so now when we are in a skills-based market, my first challenge to all of you is to stop selling. I'm going to give you permission right here today to no longer sell. And I just want you to serve. There's people that are having pain, that are frustrated, that are confused, and they don't know what to do. They may use you and they may not use you, but if you communicate with them effectively, that you're willing to help them one way or another, I promise you'll never, ever, ever wonder where your next dollar is going to come from. If you'll serve regardless of the opportunity, it will change the trajectory of your career. How many of you are willing to adapt this new philosophy and really serve? Is that more aligned with who you are anyway? Nobody wants to be sold. It's okay. Stop selling. Let's just serve. And hey, and the opportunities will present themselves. Here we go into the skills-based market. Here's what I've learned. In 2019, it took 167 calls to get a closing. In 2020, that's when you started, right? 19. In 2020, we could do it in 134 calls. By 2021, 127 calls. It was an activity-based market. In 2022, it went right back to 165. And in 2023, it's 222. It takes almost 100 more dials today to sell the same transaction. But it's still predictable because we track the activities that give us a result. I know how many dials it takes to have a conversation, how many conversations it takes to have an appointment, how many appointments that we need to get a closing, and how many closings we need to get to our income goal. And once you understand the math, it's an activities. You focus on the right things. We do the right things. you don't even have to be perfect at it. You just have to do the right thing, and then you'll get better at it as you do it over and over and over again. We've gone to this skills-based market, and it's so fun to watch. I'm going to share this with you because I think as we get into goal setting, well, can somebody find me like a napkin? I'm going to erase this board and rewrite on it again. Can I have yours? Thanks, man.
Way to go, Tom.
Way to go. Look, I would take mine out, but it's like built in. Okay, so the activities, the experiences, this pyramid is so cool. The experiences we've had in this life up until now have created your current beliefs. And what I mean by that is we all come from different places, right? So I grew up in Salt Lake City. Like, I have 6 brothers and sisters. My dad was a school teacher, an ex-Marine. I know there's no such thing as an ex-Marine, only former Marines. He used to wake us up in the morning, yell reveille down the stairs. He taught me how to make my bed and flip a quarter off it so he could catch it. And if I couldn't catch it, he'd tear it up and make me do it again. My dad was tough as nails. He was a high school history teacher. I met a guy one time at a sporting goods store. I wrote a check. Remember those? And I'm like, and the guy looks at my check and he goes, Verl Workman. I had a teacher named Verl Workman. I'm like, oh yeah, how was he? He goes, I hated that guy. Yeah, I don't know him. 7 kids. My dad's a teacher. When I was 11 years old, my dad had a brain aneurysm. He had a blood vessel that burst in his brain. He was in the hospital for 2 months, was in a deep coma. When he finally came out and I saw him again, he was completely shaved bald, had a scar from his right here to the back of his head where they had to open up his head and put a metal plate in to stop the bleeding. He had severe brain damage and was blind. So he spent the next 25 years in a nursing home. So imagine 7 kids being a school teacher. And then, so I went from strict Marine father to absolutely no supervision at the house. It became the Wild West. I was raised by 7 or 8 of my neighbors. The neighborhood came in, they farmed all 7 kids out. We all lived in different houses for 2 or 3 years while my mom was trying to help my dad figure all that stuff out. Now, don't look back and go, oh, I feel bad for you. The experiences that I had in my life formed a set of beliefs. And those beliefs, one of those beliefs is, if I want something, I'm going to have to get it myself because my parents aren't going to give it to me, right? Another belief I found was one of the neighbors who had let me move in with him was the scoutmaster of the neighborhood. And he brought me into his scout troop, and I became an Eagle Scout, and I learned some values. Any scouts in the room? We got a few Boy Scouts in here. Does this resonate with you? You know, anybody know what the scout law is? A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent, and hungry. Yeah, it made a difference in my life. When I was 19, I went on a mission. I was a Mormon missionary in Manchester, England for 2 years, knocking on huts. Now, I want you to imagine, you think selling houses is hard, guys? Try selling Jesus. Like, you knock doors? You knock doors, right? I mean, I love knocking. Like knocking doors. I coach a guy over at the Palisades, does about $500 million a year, and they knock doors. They knock doors. Average sales price is $4 million. People say, we don't look luxury real estate. I'm like, okay, don't tell that to Anthony. He does. Our experiences form our beliefs. Our beliefs control our actions. And the things that we focus on, our actions, give us our results. U-L-T-S. Our experiences form our beliefs control our actions give us results. I remember the first time so let me give you an example. When you set your goals and you write down $100,000 or $150,000, it is based on the experiences you have in your life that form a belief in what you think is possible. And nobody should tell anybody else that their beliefs aren't accurate because their beliefs are based on their action, on their experiences. Your experiences in life are just different than mine. And so because we have different experiences, we have a different expectation of what we believe is possible. Does that make sense? And so what I've learned with my kids, like I want my kids to believe in God. Whatever you believe in is great with me. But so whatever you want your kids to believe in, so we try and create experiences, right? We take them to church on Sunday. We do service. We give back to the community. We want them to make a difference in the world. So whatever, like we do experiences because you hope when they do those experiences, they start to believe and create some of their own value system so that when you're no longer with them, they make better choices in the world. Does that make sense? So they have to borrow our beliefs until they develop their own, and then they can have their own positive actions. So what I'd like you to do is, first of all, I want you to realize that the only limits that we have are the ones that are self-imposed because of the experiences we've had in this life. And oftentimes, those experiences have not been positive. We've had people in our lives that have told us we don't have value. We have people in our lives that make us think like we're not worth it. We can't do it. We've had other people make us feel less than because of where we're from or who we love. But the reality is that we're all God's children. God doesn't make mistakes, which means we all have unlimited potential. And so if you remove all of those limiting beliefs and all of those limiting things and all of those negative thoughts you have in your life and you focus on the right activities, we can start getting a real predictable result. So I remember, here's a real belief story. How many of you also sold hot tubs at the state fair? Anybody? Okay, all right, so I'm selling satellite dishes, those big 10-foot satellite dishes. I'm 23 years old, living the dream, working for myself, and I kept going into people's houses, and every man wanted it for sports, and not a single woman on the planet wanted that ugly thing in the backyard. And they'd always get into a fight. Well, why can't we have something the whole family can enjoy, like a hot tub? So what did I do? I went and found someone that would sell me hot tubs, and I'd say, why do you have to choose? $79 down, $79 a month, you get a satellite and a hot tub. I'll even run a line out there. You can watch TV in your hot tub. And so we sold satellites and hot tubs. So I remember the first time I did a state fair, and I don't know what it cost me. It was like $5,000 to rent a booth. I rented an inflatable gorilla that said sell. It was awesome. It was like sale. And I set up my hot tubs, and I set a goal. My goal was 10 hot tubs. I wanted to sell 10 hot tubs. Why? Because I knew that I'd make money if I sold 10. And so we worked like crazy throughout the fair to sell 10 hot tubs. At the end of the fair, the second to the last day, I hit number 10. And I remember going to the frozen lemonade stand. That's what we drink in Salt Lake. And I said, all right, I'm going to buy 2 frozen lemonades, one for me and one for my sales guy. And I got my lemon, and I turned around, and the guy next to me is like wearing a sport coat that said Cal Spas. He was the best dressed guy at the fair. I'm like, oh, Cal Spas, hey, how you guys doing over there? He goes, oh, we're doing fine, son. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, so can I ask? He goes, well, how'd you do? And I said, oh, I don't want to say, but I got my goal. He goes, what was your goal? I said, we sold 10. He goes, good for you. Like, oh, how cute. I'm like, well, how many did you sell? He said, well, we sold 10 this afternoon. And I said, how many have you sold? He said, we sold 100. The only difference between somebody selling 100 and somebody selling 10, first of all, it was the goal they set. Second, it was the belief that they actually could. So I went and I put on my disguise, and I sent all my brothers and sisters over to shop them and to watch everything they did, and I duplicated it. The following year, we sold 70 hot tubs. I learned, right? Greatness is predictable. My experiences changed when I found somebody else that had a different belief, and I borrowed their belief and followed their system with the right actions until I got a better result. And then we tweaked. Think about that. Isn't that cool? All right, so is it possible that you wrote down a goal based on a limiting belief of what you think might be possible? Okay, so if that's truth, then just give me a what if goal. Like, what if you didn't have any limiting belief? Can you make $1 million a year in this real estate market, yes or no? Yes. But why didn't you all write it down? So you all believe that you can, but I'll bet you less than 10% of the room wrote that down as a possibility. So what you're saying is you believe somebody else has greater value than you? You believe that they know something you don't know, and they're going to work on other things. You don't believe any of those? That you wrote it down. That's right. You wrote it down. All right. And so here's what I've learned. If we focus on the right activities, if you find greatness and you just copy it, You're going to get there a lot faster. But what we do is we push back, but we have limiting, because we have these experiences that tell us something doesn't going to work. Well, I don't care if you believe it's going to work or not. My clients are selling 700, 800 houses a year. So you could do it my way, and what if you got half of that? Would that be okay? What if I told you that at $1 million net, you're no longer in production? You're working less than you are at $250,000. You don't list houses, you don't show houses. You're in business development and people development, right? The people that are running businesses like businesses, you're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation, but you're behaving like an assistant. Not you personally. I meant that was general. That was general. All right, so you want to get different results, focus on the right activities. Let's start getting into it. Okay, we're going to build our plan. Everybody take out your business plan workbook. The first thing I want you to do is we're going to build some, we're going to work on this. So we're going to have you fill this in. So there's 5 areas that we're going to focus on. This is where we develop our why. These are 5 areas I'd like you to find. I don't know what page it is in your plan, but we're doing this one first. Family, faith, friends, fun, fitness. I want you to write down in 1 year, in December 31st, 2024, what you would like to focus on in each of those areas. I'd like specific things. What do you want to have done with your family, your faith, your friends, your funny faith? Like under faith, whatever that means to you. I have one guy that says, I ski. And when I go skiing, I feel close to whatever I believe is the great creator. So ski more. Like whatever that means to you, write it down. Family, I've got, some people say, I'd like one. Right? I want to start a family. Or I'd like to spend more time with my family. We started, when we first got married, we started doing a thing called date night. Every weekend, we would go on a date, and we still do it today, 37 years. Like, I have a date tonight. And so we'll watch a movie, or we'll go for a walk, or we'll go out and do something together. So now sometimes we go to visit our grandkids, whatever that is important to you, we just go on a date. And I've learned that if you'll focus on your relationship and you'll do that religiously, somebody wants to buy $1 million house and I have a date, I say, I can't go tonight, I have a date. And I have never lost like if a client said to me, oh, well, if you can't show me tonight, then I'm not using you, I would say, I don't need you. Like, it's just like if you don't get that, I've also learned to put people in my time slots. I'll show you that tool in a minute. So family, faith, friends, fun, and fitness. For those of you watching on the broadcast, find the same document, fill it out. By the way, I'm going to email you the electronic version of the business plan. So instead of just having the physical one, I'm going to give you a fillable PDF that you can have after here. And I want you to save a copy of it. And then every year we do it, and we do the same thing. And we update it all the time, too. I was in Sacramento just a couple weeks ago for my friend Rick Jiha for his celebration of life, and they held it at the Coliseum. Rick was one of our master coaches. He was a Workman master coach. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. There's a secret to his success. I love that you're being detailed. Later on, as our kids started to get older, we felt like we weren't connected to them. We decided that we were going to start dating our children. And so every month we would pick a different child and we would let them choose their date. And at first they were like, Dad, do we have to go? I just want to go with my friends. And then it became something they looked forward to. So your kids, when you think about family, like those little things make a big difference. Once a week we would do a thing called a family night where everybody would get together. We'd do an activity or something with all the kids. Little small things make a huge impact as you're raising your families. So think about the things that will help you the most. Fun. That's the easiest part for me to fill out. I can fill my fun sheet out. Okay, so when we were a young family, remember when you could buy houses with no money down and stated income? Yeah, I bought one of those. 300,000. I'd barely been licensed, and I was selling houses and been self-employed before that. And I remember doing this real estate deal where I got, it was a stated income, no money down. I got money back at the closing. I got all their furniture, and I got this great house in this great neighborhood. The problem was I really didn't belong there. And so we move in, and all my kids' friends now have boats, and they're doing all these great things. They're like, Dad, we need a boat. So I remember saving up. Everything I did that was fun in life, I had to sell a house to get it. Anybody else play that game? I'm like, if I sell this house, we're going to buy a boat. I bought a $6,000 Maxim. It was a piece of crap red boat, and I put a tower on it. My son Nate, who runs my sales and marketing teams now, he learned how to do backflips on a wakeboard behind that boat. It was awesome. But you know the problem is when you get a boat? No, it doesn't break down. Everybody loved it. You need a better one. The problem is you need a better one. I have 3 boats now. We're a big Lake Powell family. So we have this houseboat. You ever go to Lake Powell? Lake Powell is my happy place. And so and it's the one place all of my kids and all of my grandkids always want to go. And so when we go to Lake Powell, everybody goes. It's the family thing now. I'm like, we're going to Lake Powell. It's not like, I can't wonder if I get it off. They'll work for me. They're taking it off. And so for fun, boating was a big family thing. It was one of those things that I could afford it. They always wanted to bring their friends. I got to know who their friends were. The problem was my son and daughter were about the same age. And so Brienne didn't want to bring her friends because Nate was always making out with them. That was a problem at my house. I didn't learn about that till their graduation trips on the houseboat when they can't hear that we're talking. They're all upstairs and Nate was going through the list. And Brienne's like, you did not. Friends, connecting with people. How many of you have friends in your life or people that you haven't connected with in a long time that you really feel bad about? But they haven't called you either, and so you just blame it on them, and you figure if they liked you, they'd reach out. Well, that's a below-the-line conversation in your head. If you miss them, call them. Set something up. Just get together. I was teaching this class, and I had this moment where I've got my best friend in high school, Corey Hedman. We played racquetball together. We were tournament racquetball players, and we played all this racquetball. I haven't talked to Corey in 20 years, and he lives 2 miles away. So on a Friday night, I called him up and said, Corey, what are you doing tomorrow? He goes, Verl Workman? Where have you been? I'm like, man, we've been raising our families. I want to catch up with you. He goes, all right, so let's go fishing. So we got up in the morning at 6 o'clock. We got in a fishing boat. We went up. We spent the entire day fishing. And we caught a bunch of fish. But more importantly, we caught up. And it was so awesome to hear what his kids were up to and what they were doing. And it was just fun. So find the people that you haven't connected with and reconnect. By the way, they all need houses. Okay, so the next is values, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I am going to tell you that you need to build a set of core values. We hire and fire to our values. You're going to learn really fast that core values, when you're going through the process of hiring someone, let me see if I have a picture of a core values in here. I had one before. Maybe not. I moved my slide deck around just this morning. These are all really good slides you're not getting. Okay. Okay, so in your core values, guys, the core values are the governing principles that you want to run your life on. And so some of our core values at Workman are choose to be happy. Everybody has crap in their life. Raise your hand if you have crap. Anybody here have crap besides me? We just have crap that goes on. And so, but when you walk through the doors, you have to put your game face on. It's game time. And so you can choose in this moment to be happy. Another one is we persist until we succeed. We follow up until people buy or tell us to die. My people call you. We follow up. It's a core value. But we follow up to serve and hope we can make a difference in your life. How many of you have people, how many of you wish you had more leads? Anybody wish you had more leads? Okay, what if I told you that I could come into your business today and I could look at your last 12 months worth of leads and I could probably generate $200,000 or $300,000 of commission. We don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead follow-up problem. And so let's stop spending money and start converting more of the opportunities that are there. We persist until we succeed. Communicate openly and honestly is another one. Team members, I like to say we don't have people problems, we have process problems. I genuinely believe that all of you get up every day and you want to succeed. You have the attitude that you want to win. And so when somebody doesn't do something right, it's not because they didn't want to. And so instead of attacking the people, what if we attack the process and we try and understand where our process failed us? Instead of saying, why didn't you do that? I want to know what happened in our communication that caused me not to be able to clearly articulate to you what needed to be done, and let's create a system for it. Here's another Verlism. I'll give you a bunch of these today. Anything you do 3 times in your business, you must create a system for it. Systems, systems, systems for everything. When you create your core values, there's 2 books that I love. One is The Traveler's Gift. If you haven't read that in a while, pull that out again. The other one is Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World. In Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World, he talks about the 10 scrolls. I'm going to give you a couple of them. Scroll number 1 says this. Page 51. By the way, who's never seen a copy of The Greatest Salesman in the World? Have you never heard of that? I'm going to give some of these away. I brought some. Here you go. I'm going to give you one. If you've never ever seen one, I'm going to come over here. You guys, you two can share one. Okay, ready? All the way to the back. Ready? Good. Okay. Okay. I'm going to give you guys one just because of the look. It was like this. It wasn't like, yeah, it was like, come on, you know you got me. You know you got me. Okay, I'm going to give my other one away over here. I'm coming all the way over there. You ready? Here we go. Somebody call my wife. Tell her I'm working out. I'm going all the way over here. All right, you guys are awesome over here at the back, right there. I can't stand by the speaker. It's going to drive us crazy. Okay, I'll give you mine in a minute. Okay, so those of you who got books, go to page 51. Scroll number 1 says this. He says, today I begin a new life. Today I shed my own skin, which has long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I'm born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there's fruit for all. I love that. He's saying, what if today you could shed all of your excuses, all of the crap, all of the baggage, all of the people in your life that said you weren't have value, and you could just shed it and start fresh. Anybody want a do-over? I'm going to give you permission right now to just let it go. Cue up the music from Frozen. Everybody, let's let it go. Let it go. Okay, now turn the page. The very next page, listen to this. He says, the career I have chosen is laden with opportunity, yet it's fraught with heartbreak and despair. And the bodies of those who have failed, where they piled up on top of another, would cast a shadow down upon the pyramids. He could have just said, okay, so I'm going to be a realtor. He says, but I'm not going to fail. He says, so now I hold in my hands these scrolls. Now listen, he says, failure will no longer be my payment for struggle. Turn the page one more time, and the second paragraph down, he says, in truth, the only difference between those who succeeded and those who failed lies in their habits. Good habits are the unlocked door to success. Bad habits will open the door to failure. So the first law I will follow is I will form good habits and become their slave. I'm not saying that you have bad habits. I'm just going to ask you this question. Is it possible that we could change some of your current habits for better habits? So how about we do it? How about we do that? Here's scroll number 2. I love this one. He says, I will greet this day with love in my heart. Muscle can split a shield, even destroy a life. But only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men. And until I master this art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. I will make love my greatest weapon, and none who I call upon can guard against its force. Am I close?
Oh my God. Pretty close, yeah.
Pretty close.
I just finished it last week.
You just finished it. I've been reading this since I was a senior in high school. I'm one of the only people in the world that has an unlimited license with Og Mandino. Number 3 is I will persist until I succeed. He says, so long as there is breath in me, that long will I persist. Whew. Number 4 says I'm nature's greatest miracle. The whole principle of this, it says, since the beginning of time, there's never been another with my eyes, my hands, my hair, my heart, my mind. None that came before and none that come after can walk and talk and move exactly like me. All men are my brothers, but I am unique. For I am nature's greatest miracle. And then he uses an example of wheat, and he says, wheat has 3 options. It can be ground into bread, and ground into grain and made into bread. It can be divvied up and fed to swine, or it can be planted in the earth. And 1 grain of wheat can feed thousands of people all over the world. The only difference between me and a grain of wheat is I get to choose. I choose not to be devoured by others. I choose not to be fed to swine. I choose to allow my greatness to be planted in the earth and share with others. I just love that. Number 5 is, I will greet this day as if it is my last. Think about that value. I will greet today as if it's my last. It's not that today's your last day. I remember calling up Dave Blanchard, who's the CEO of Workman. I'm like, I struggle with this one. Because listen to this. As you read the end of this, he says, if it's my last, it will be my greatest monument. This day I will make the greatest day of my life. I will drink every minute till it's full. I will savor its taste and give thanks. I will make every hour count, and each minute will I trade for only something of value. I will labor harder than ever before. I will push my muscles until they cry for relief, and then I'll continue. I'll make more calls than ever before. I will sell more goods than ever before. I'll earn more gold than ever before. Okay, so I'm reading that, and I'm thinking, okay, so if it's my last day, I'm not working. Like, anybody else think that? I'm like seriously? That's what you're going to do on your last day? Not me. My father-in-law, my wife's dad, when he's 66 years old, he went to his final convention. He worked for Georgia Pacific Paper Company in Mardi Gras. Where's that? Yeah, he was in New Orleans. Duh. He was in New Orleans getting beignets, and he came home, and he started turning yellow like he had hepatitis. It turned out to be pancreatic cancer. 66 years old, the year he retired. 9 months from diagnosis to funeral. And so I'm reading this scroll. I'll live this day as if it was my last. I'm watching my father-in-law, who was like my dad. I want you you remember the story about my dad. When I got married, my father-in-law was unbelievable. He treated me like a son. He had 4 daughters, and I married his oldest. He treated me like a son he never had, and I loved him. And I remember as Carl went through this process, as he was kind of winding down, we would go into his room, and he would always stop us and say, I love you. Like my kids, their grandpa, he didn't care about anything. He didn't want to see the neighbors. He didn't want to see people from the church group. He wanted his kids and his grandkids to know that he loved them. And that's all that mattered to him. And then I remember kneeling by his side, and he could barely whisper. He comes to me, he goes, Verl. I'm like, yeah, Carl. He says, don't let Pat spend all the money. And don't let her sell my tools. Those are the... And I have the coolest picture in my office of his tool chest and all this stuff. He was like a Yankee workshop guy. He just loved to make things with his hands. So when I called Dave and asked him about this, he says, Verl, you don't get it. And I said, yeah, man, that's what I'm calling you. He says, it's not that it's your last day. It's that right now are the only moments you're ever going to have these moments. And once the hours of today are gone, you can't get them back. So what you do with this precious day that remains in your keeping, you have stewardship over your hours and minutes of today. What are you going to do with it to make it the best day ever? And I said, oh, that means something totally different. I will live this day as if it is my last. And if it's not, I'll fall to my knees and give thanks. When you think about your core values, I will laugh at the world. I love this one. I gave this one to my mom all the time. He says, I don't know who writes like this. Listen to this. He says, so long as I laugh, I will never be poor. That is one of nature's greatest gifts, and I will waste it no more. Only with laughter and happiness can I truly become a success. Only with laughter and happiness can I enjoy the fruits of my labor. Were it not so, far better would it be for me to fail. For happiness is the wine that sharpens the taste of the meal. To enjoy success, I must have happiness, and laughter will be the maiden who serves me. Whew. Hogg says to get up every day. Okay, how many of you got uncomfortable when I told you to double your goal? Come on. Like, really? Og Mandino says you are weak. You're weak. You know what he says? He says, today I will multiply my value 100-fold. I will multiply my value 100-fold. And how will I accomplish this? First, I will set the goals for the day, the week, the month, and the year of my life. The rain must fall before the wheat will crack its shell and spout. So I must have objectives before my life that will crystallize. Today I multiply my value 100-fold. And just as the warm wind guides the wheat to maturity, the same winds will carry my voice to those who will listen. And my words will announce my goals. Say them out loud. I will multiply my value 100-fold. Think about that. What does it look like when I was talking to Cleve Gaddis, another one of my master coaches, this morning, and he was on a call with a team out of Raleigh, North Carolina. It sells over 1,000 houses a year. And he says, what are you doing to multiply your value 100-fold? And he says, I'm going to do more networking. He says, you don't get it. Building a business that has unbelievable net worth is about ongoing residual income that doesn't require your efforts. What are you doing to multiply your value 100-fold? And the answer isn't sell another house. So I want you to look at your goals and look at your strategic plan for 5 years out and say, what are the activities that I'm going to focus on that will really increase my value? And not by 2. Doubling it is for the beginners. I want you to double every year the next 5 years and tell me what that looks like. And then how are we going to get there? By not working more, but by creating leverage. The key word to having a business that has a multiple is leverage. Leverage is everything, even if you have to go to Florida to attend it. Listen to this one. Scroll number 9 says, my dreams are worthless. My plans are dust. My goals are impossible. How's that for motivational? All are of no value unless followed by action. Oh yeah, he says, I will act now. He says, my procrastination which has held me back is born of fear. And now I know that to conquer fear, I must act without hesitation. I recognize the secrets mine from the depths of all courageous hearts. Now I know that to conquer fear, I must always act without hesitation, and the flutters of my heart will vanish. I will act when? Now. We're doing these business plans right now. We're talking about where you want to go, but you have to take action. When are you going to act? Okay, with any energy at all and as a room, when are we going to act? Now. When you get up in the morning and you look at your list, you don't think about getting ready to do something great. Zig Ziglar calls that getting cooked into squat, fixing to rise. I'm getting ready to do something great. You got to get up and you have to act. We're going to act when? Now. He says, I will act now, I will act now, I will act now. He says, he uses the example of the firefly that only lights up when he bats his wings. Yeah, when I wake up, I'll say it again. I'll enter the marketplace, I'll say it again. I will act now. Listen to these words. He says, I hunger. Oh, no, you got to hear this part. He says, I will act now, for now is all I have. Tomorrow is the day reserved for the labor of the lazy. And I am not lazy. Tomorrow's the day when the good become evil, and I am not evil. Tomorrow's the day when the weak become strong. They're going to do it tomorrow, and I am not weak. Tomorrow's the day when the failure will succeed, and I'm not a failure. I'm going to act. When? Now. Right. When the lion is hungry, he eats. When the eagle is thirsty, she drinks. Unless they act, both will perish. I hunger for success, and I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish in a life of fillery. I love fillery and carrots. Failure, misery, and sleepless nights. I will command and I will obey my own command. I will act now. And this one phrase should be on your wall. It says, success will not wait. If I delay, she will become betrothed to another forever. This is the time. Guys, you're here for a reason today. There's a reason you're here. This is the place. Now's the time. Right now. This is it. Everybody else is freaking out. They don't know what the crap to do. We're going to go take their business. It's time to act. All right, you can have that. Okay, I better start talking now. Where's my mouse? Anybody know where my mouse is? Who has seen the mouse? It's on the front somewhere. Did I put it up here? Thank you for paying attention. You know what? You can have my other book. Okay. All right. So we're going to do our core values. Now let's go. I'm going to take you so you understand how to do all of this. When we do a strategic plan, I want you to think about what I'm saying right here. I want you to create a lifestyle first. This is what I want my life to look like. So the number 2 section right here in the strategic plan says, what do I want my life to look like 5 years from now? I want you to define your lifestyle, and then let's build a business that creates it, instead of creating a business that becomes it. Guys, I just gave you like a deep thought. For those of you who used to watch Saturday Night Live with Jack Candy and Deep Thoughts, I want you to build a business that creates a lifestyle, not a business that becomes a lifestyle. Do you understand the difference? Like if I ever hear you say to a client again, hey, when you use me, you get me. You can call me 24/7. Here's my cell phone. Like if you say those words, your business becomes your life. I love Michael who puts a sheet down that says, I want you to initial, this is how I work. I'm here to get your listing today. This is my marketing director who does all the marketing. If you have a problem with the marketing or question about that, email her. This is my transaction coordinator. When it goes under contract, we go here. Now, this is my cell phone number. You can call me, but what it says here is I may not answer, and if I don't answer, I won't call you back, and I don't leave a message. Just put your initials there. Yeah. You teach your people how to work with you. What are you teaching them right now? Oh, you can call me. You think your unfair competitive advantage is you don't have a life? You know what I mean? Like, and you're probably a pretty good. Are you a good agent?
I'm a great agent.
You're a great agent? When people get you, do they really get you? Or do you have a team?
I don't have a team yet.
Okay. Do you have an assistant? No. So you are one. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of pain because I know my great agents. How long have you been doing this?
I've actually only been doing real estate for a year and a half.
A year and a half, and you're already a great agent. Good for you. Here,
I've been licensed for 30 years.
you've been licensed for, what did you do before?
I was a lender for about 12 years.
Yeah, that business sucks right now. It's so funny. I was in Washington, D.C. 2 days ago, and the lender there had a team of 30, and he was having his best year ever. You know what he was doing? Taking market share from everybody else's selling. So I love that. Okay, so let me tell you, guys, here's when you should get your first assistant. The day you get your license. Guys, I can't get you there. I can't take you to $1 million if you spend any of your day doing $20 an hour tasks. You can outsource transaction management right now. $300-400 a transaction, let it go. Just give it away. Find someone who's good at it and outsource it. You don't have to hire anyone. You don't need payroll. You have that? Yeah, get a transaction manager. Anything you do 3 times, create a system for it or have a assistant do it. So many people, where's my experienced agents? Like who's been here more than 5 years, 10 years? Okay, so we have some experienced agents in the room. Okay, experienced agents are the worst. No, here's why. Because they've been through so much and they've seen it all. Everything they know well is in their head and in their heart. And the concept of thinking somebody else is going to deliver great service to a client is hard to imagine. Isn't that true? Am I off base? So, right. And so the reason we can't delegate is because it's here and here. But if you start creating systems for everything you do 3 times, then it gives you the ability to develop others. Does that make sense? And just let it go. It's not that you, and you think, well, I'm not really loving my client if I let it go. I want you to change that because you have the ability to serve so many more people when you create leverage, right? I only want you to do things you love the most about the business. Like, what do you love about real estate? Like, somebody raise your hand, tell me what you love most. It's been here more than 10 years. What do you love most? Yeah. You love going in houses and helping people find them. You love that part of the business. See, I love that you love that. Keep doing it. What do you hate? Paperwork. Delegate it. Do you have an assistant? Good. So you've done that. Was that game changing for you? Yes. Like, could you imagine not having one? Oh my gosh. I lost my assistant a couple weeks ago. We weren't a good cultural fit. So I invited her to share her talents with others. And my life is so screwed up right now. My calendars aren't right. I checked into my hotel the other night. Like, yeah, we don't have your reservation. It's for the other night. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so when you don't have one, it's painful. So, all right. So what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? Then what has to happen in your business to be able to achieve that? So how much do you have to be making in order to get the things that you said you wanted 5 years from now? I'm not going to have time to go through all this. We're going to go through and then say, okay, so in 1 year to be on track to hit your 5-year goal, what do you have to be earning? What do you have to be doing a year from now? So when you do your business plan and really think this stuff through, I really want you to do the math. Like really what has to be happening a year from now in order for me to be on my 5-year track, okay? That's the same slide. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. I'll come back to it. The next thing I want you to do is How many of you have done a SWOT analysis before? You better have. Okay, so only a few of you. So they teach us in MBA school. So SWOT analysis. I used to have a napkin. This is my napkin. I found one. You got me a, you rock. I wish I had another book. He's read it. It's a life read. It's not a I read it. Yeah, good. Every time I talk about Augmandino, Brent Gove gets all excited. He loves Augmandino. Okay, so when you do a SWOT analysis, above the word strengths, I want you to write the word internal. Oh, it's on your sheet. Good. Okay, internal. That means to you. What are your strengths? I want you guys to yell at me. I want you to tell me what you have that is so cool nobody else has it. What is your strength? What makes you amazing? Authenticity. You're authentic. Okay. Passion. Persistent. Self what? Self-confidence. Cocky. Grit. All right. Serve. There you go. Now I'm getting a real one. There's knowledge. Either have it or you don't. Love. I like to say I'm armed to the teeth with technology and I'm a freaking sales animal. Like, you list your house with me, I don't list it to put it on the MLS. We list it to sell it. And I'm trained in negotiation. Are you? What are your unfair competitive advantage? So, strong negotiator. You could put negotiator, strong negotiator. High, really good in technology. You can't read any of these, just know that they're close. High end, good in technology. What do you have? What do you guys have? Communication. How about I'm an investor? I'm a good listener. I'm a leader. Trustworthy. Okay, how about this? How many of you have the strength of I'm not afraid to prospect? Yeah? Okay, I'm a hunter. The reason I put that on there as a strength is it's an unfair advantage. So many agents are wish marketers. Oh, I sure wish somebody would call today. Like, when the lion's hungry, he's got to go eat. You got to eat. I'm hungry. Okay. Okay, this is internal. External. What are your weaknesses? Okay, what do you suck at? Paperwork. The details. Delegating. Time management. Paperwork. Yep, sorry, that's internal. Oh yeah, ADD. I suffer from all these things. Okay, attention to detail, inability to delegate. I don't know how to use my technology very well. I'm introverted. Okay, so what would your ex-spouse say are your weaknesses? Dumbass. No one's ever said that, man. I love that one. Because that's how real I want you to be. I want you to be really authentic with what are the areas that you really struggle with? What are the things that are your weakness? Prospecting is that I hate calling people. I don't like being in social situations where I have to go meet new people. What are your weaknesses? People. I had somebody say to me the other day, can I just be done peopling? That was my wife. Well, my wife is a super high S. Everybody loves her, but when she goes to big events, she has to be the queen, right? And she just it's because it's out of her comfort zone, she does it with a high level of stress and anxiety. She'll do it as an adaptive skill, but man, you ask her to stand on stage and give her the mic, she will crawl under the table. I had Red X at my conference last week, 2 weeks ago, and they were on stage, and the guy was physically calling expireds and FSBOs live in front of the audience. My wife was like, I have to leave. Like, I cannot. She's like, is he really doing that? Yeah, and like he set appointments and people ganging up on him and he would do the next one. He had a great attitude about it. He got people talking to him. It was just fascinating to watch someone who just got it. It's just a numbers game. And she was like, yeah, can I go now? It's just funny, right? Okay, so what are your weaknesses? Write them down. Okay, now opportunities are external. So what are the things that you recognize in the marketplace today as opportunities that you're currently not taking advantage of? So negotiations is an opportunity. Negotiation of, so price reductions, getting your houses priced right may be an opportunity. I want you to think of an opportunity as ways of attracting new business. What are the ways of getting new business? Okay, so you could do networking, but I want you to be specific with who and how. Divorce attorneys. Expireds. FSBOs. Notices of default. New construction. Seniors. Default. Veterans. Default. I put NODs up there. Attorneys. Downside, yeah. You know, we have the largest generation of people moving right now. The baby boomers are it's the largest transformation of wealth in the world's history. And we're like, oh, well, I sure hope comes my way. Some comes my way. Got to go get it, right? There's the whole attraction. AI. AI is a tool that can help you be better at all of these. So AI is more of a tool than it is a weakness or a strength, but it could be an opportunity if you know how to use it right. What about what? So systems. So is that a strength? Is your systems focused, or is it a weakness that you're not? And so if it's a weakness that you're not systems focused, then you should identify that, but it's not really an opportunity. It's a tool we use to take advantage of opportunities. It's not the actual opportunity. Does that make sense? Okay, so what are the threats in the marketplace?
Biden.
Okay, so politics. So threats are, let me define threats for you. Look, I will not confirm or deny. Like when you look at who we have running for office at every level, you wonder how we have the greatest economy in the world. And we do. You know, I'll tell you, it puts it all in perspective for me when we celebrated Veterans, Day last week and Veterans Week, and we think about the people who put their lives on the line so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we have. And while we have a kind of a whack political environment right now, we still have the greatest system in the world and the greatest country in the world. And I love to be an American. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. So if you spend any of your energy whining about it and not doing anything to change it, then you're living below the line. So let's make a difference. I had one of the speakers at my conference just retired as a senior commander of SEAL Team 6 for 20 years. 20 years. His name's Matt Werner. Matt stood on the stage with me, and he had to write down the stories he was going to share and tell because of his traumatic brain injury. And I said to Matt, tell me about. Do you know Matt? Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So Matt married a gal by the name of Dr. Kathy Greenberg, who wrote the book on emotional intelligence. She works with the special forces, the CIA, the FBI, the SEALs, and she helps them de-escalate situations. Right now, they're so busy working with all the police forces and think about the traumatic things that are going on in their lives. Well, Matt was telling me, he said, first time I met him, I said, Matt, tell me about why you have notes on everything. He says, well, there's some things I can't say and other things I have to call training exercises. And I don't want to forget those things. I have a TBI. And I'm like, a what? He goes, well, a TBI. I'm like, what's that? He goes, a traumatic brain injury. And I says, well, what happened? He goes, oh, well, he says, guys in our line of work, football players get them. They basically have hard hits to the head, and you could get, shot in the head or hit in the teeth with the butt of a gun or blown up by an IED or fast rope onto an aircraft carrier in high seas, and you get short roped in it, you drop 15 feet, or you're in a go-fast boat going across the ocean to stop a ship with weapons of mass destruction, it gets capsized. He goes through all this stuff. And I'm like, holy cow. I said, do you mind if I ask what happened to you? And without any emotion, he looked at me and said, all of them. And I just had this feeling of great gratitude. for what people go through so we get to do what we love. So, yeah, we're jacked a little bit as a country, but man, there's people out there that are putting everything on the line every day for us so that we have the ability to sell houses, right? So just love them. And then, my gosh, I coach a lady in Washington, D.C. who's from Israel, and her whole family is in the middle of everything that's going on there. Her parents are there, everything's going on. And like, I don't care who you are, what you believe. I care that like people are getting hurt and their families are suffering. And so the wars that are going on, the stuff that's happening in Ukraine, I just think that, man, we complain a lot about our country, but we have an unbelievable country. Maybe I get this from my dad. My dad was just a proud American. And my mother was an immigrant. She came from Holland. Like, figure that out, Dutch and English. Who else is Dutch? Dag. The things I learned as a kid that my parents would always say is, niet genoeg geld. They never had enough money. And then my mom would say to my dad, go op het dak zitten, which means go sit on the dock. Like, get out of my face. All right, so we read our threats. We have politics. We have wars. We have interest rates. We have the economy. We have a class action lawsuit. Okay, these are things you cannot control, but you need to be aware of. And let me tell you how I feel about threats. Threats to me are opportunities to message to the market. Because when you feel the threat, the consumer feels the threat, and this gives us a blank slate on how to change our messaging. So when we start messaging to the market right now, using emotional intelligence processes and words and language that moves people from threat feeling to optimistic, that changes the game. So I'm aware of threats. I love threats. I understand the threats. I can't control the threats. I can only control my behavior and how we message to the threat. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to give you some of these. I've got to go faster if I'm going to get there, though. Okay, where'd the mouse go? Damn it, who keeps taking my mouse? Wait, found it. My wife says, now, did you look, or did you look like I would look? So strengths, weakness, opportunity set. Let me tell you what to do this. Okay, with your business plan, you'll notice there's several pages of this. I want you to do a SWOT analysis on yourself, and then I want you to have 3 or 4 people you love and trust and respect, not realtors. Do a SWOT analysis on you. And here's why. People see you differently than you see yourself. And you're going to find out what your real strengths are. And they're going to identify weaknesses that you think you're good at. But I am a good listener. Like if you're constantly finishing the person's sentence that you're with, probably not a good listener. Oh my gosh, all the high D's and I's are like, oh, you're not supposed to do that?
I mean, we don't see the problem, really, right? Yeah, we don't.
You're also, the other thing that I've learned is that there are opportunities in the marketplace that you haven't even begun to think about. And your business friends, your savvy people that you trust, are seeing opportunities you're not recognizing and have them put them on your opportunities. I found unbelievable knowledge by asking people. Go to the mentors in your life, the people you look up to. And then what do they see as the threats? And then we'll create messaging around that. So you can do a SWOT analysis on yourself, then you do everybody else's. Now here's what you do with it. When we set our goals to go after money, which we're going to get to next, I want you to take your strengths and then look at the opportunities and ask, how can I apply my gifts to take advantage of the opportunities I'm currently not taking advantage? I want you to take your strengths and turn them into income. And then I want you to take your weaknesses. Now, you ready with weaknesses? What do you think I'm going to tell you to do with your weaknesses? Get training, read a book. No, take it off your list. Delegate it. Let it go. You already suck at it. Stop trying to be great at it. And I mean that with love. I don't like the details. I just don't. I also don't like mowing my lawn. I don't mow my own lawn. I don't change the oil in my car. I can, but I choose not to. And it's not because I'm going to spend more time on money-making activities. It's because I'm fishing on Saturday. It's not because you need to. How many of you believe that your deals are better because you do the paperwork? And no one in this world could do it as good as you. So what are you going to do? Man, there is, like, you're hearing me. What is the value of increased knowledge if your actions are not altered as a result of that knowledge? What is the point of being here if you don't make a choice to do something different? Remember, the thin line between average and exceptional is accountability, and it's integrity with yourself. Like, how many of you are ready to really start letting some stuff go? Like, let me see your hands. How many of you, no matter what I say, you're never having anybody help you? Okay, I want you to, and thank you for raising your hand. And you did it, you didn't mean to, but then you really put it up, and then you're like, oh crap, what have I done? I want you to think about this for a minute. How many businesses are you aware of that are wildly successful that only have one person working in them? Please name one. Go ahead, think about it. Huh? Name a business, a company that's wildly successful that only has one person in it. Yeah, but I'm a realtor. And it's my picture on the billboard. I have big hair and a big car. I used to think that's what it took to be successful in real estate. I went and had back surgery a couple years ago, and I remember after 10 years of just living in excruciating pain, and I'm on planes all the time. I couldn't even sit in a plane. I would literally turn around and kneel on my seat, which was really awkward for the people behind me. So you're gonna eat those peanuts, or what's? Oh my God. I just want you to imagine my wife. She's like, I'm not sitting next to you if you don't turn around. I'm like, my back hurts so bad. So finally I decided to get back surgery. And so I go to I'm at my doctor. He does an MRI. And my doctor, my general practitioner, says, oh yeah, your disc is blown out. I can see it, but it's okay. I also do backs. How many of you think that's the guy I'm going to let do it? No, I also do backs, knees, shoulders. I've delivered babies. I'm like, dude, I love you, man, but I want Tiger Woods' back doctor. I want the person who does so much back surgery they can do it in their sleep. And so he referred me, and I couldn't get in. The Tiger Woods' back doctor is referral only with people you know. So they said no. Dr. Reichman was his name. Now, I don't know about you, but when somebody tells me no, what do you think that means? That means I'm going to figure out a way. So I start seeing everybody else. So one of my houseboat partners at Lake Powell, his wife plays golf with Reichman's wife. Can you believe that? So I said to Leanne, you got to get me into Reichman. And she said, well, I'll get you in. The next day, his office calls me and says, Verl, this is Dr. Reichman's office. The doctor will see you in 6 months. I'm like, it's been 10 years. So 6 months later, I get in. I'm so excited. I go in there, and guess who greets me? Do you think Dr. Reichman greeted me? No. I met with a lady with no personality. She's, come on in. Who are you here to see? Reichman. Oh, great. Okay. All right, let me see your card. Let me see your insurance. Let me see your stuff. She asked for all my stuff. Make sure that I can actually pay him. And then she says, please wait. Hours. And then some dude named Dave comes out, and he's like, Vern Workman? I'm like, it's Verl. He goes, Vern, come on out. He sits me in the back. He goes, I'm Dr. Reichman's PA. I've worked for him for 20 years. The doctors have all had a meeting. They looked at your MRIs. You're a good candidate for surgery in 6 months. Here's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Here's what you need to do. And I'm like, great. When do I meet the doctor? He goes, oh, you won't meet the doctor till the day of surgery. Right? So day of surgery comes in. I'm laying on the gurney. Anesthesiologist comes over and goes, hey, Verl, I'm Dr. Such and Such. I'm your count backwards from 100. I'm like, wait, I haven't met Dr. Reichman. Dude comes over and goes, hey, Verl, Mark Reichman. Leanne says, tell you hi. Good night. Like literally 99, 98. I woke up. He spent time with my wife. Okay, but hey, who are you in this story? Who are you in this story? Are you the receptionist and the PA and the doctor and the anesthesiologist? Do you think I saw Dr. Reichman afterwards? Yeah, when I came to. Him and my wife were laughing at all the stuff I was saying as I was coming out of anesthesia. And they were talking about Lake Powell and all the fun things. And then he was like, it was really good. It was successful. I feel great, by the way. And they did all these things. And so I'm done. The next 6 months, I'm in physical therapy with a physical therapist, not Dr. Reichman. Okay, so what is your business and who are you in the story? Who do you want to be? When you do it all, you send a very clear message that you're a small player. You're not going to smile at that, but it's true. You're sending a message to the consumer. Like, we live in a world of specialties. And you get diagnosed with cancer, who are you going to go to? No, not just an oncologist. You're going to go to the oncologist that specializes in your type of cancer. Isn't that true? I mean, Carl went to the Huntsman Cancer Institute and did clinical trials with the world-famous doctor who focuses on pancreatic cancer. Like, that's who we went to. I went to Tiger Woods' doctor. I wanted the guy that, like, he can still swing a golf club. I want to be able to do, I mean, I can only play pickleball, but, like, still, I want to be able to do it without pain. Like, whatever it is you focus on, I want you to think about who you are. Who do you want to be? I want to be the brain surgeon. I need you, but I need you at the most important part of the transaction. You know what the hard part of this business is? Client acquisition. It's not selling houses. It's client acquisition. It's convincing somebody to use you or somebody else. All this whole new class action lawsuit stuff. If Brent will have me, maybe in December, I'll do an hour-long class action dialogue training with you all. Would you like some of that? We'll do it as a webinar. I'll do it live if you want to do it live, but we need to go through and I need to show you how to deal with it because I have tools for it. Okay, so get your SWOT analysis done. Your mission statement is really important. Now, when we get into your goal income sheet, I want to teach you about being profitable. So there's only one number that matters in your business. Does anybody know what it is? Net profit. When's the last time you went to a conference and they gave awards away for net profit? Never. You know what they celebrate? GCI, gross closed income. Ron Howard, one of my coaches in Washington, D.C. area, before he became a coach, he was one of the top agents in the world, listing and selling 700 houses a year, going across stage, getting his big awards, not being able to afford this tuxedo that he rented for the award ceremony. He was having lunch with another one of my clients, Lee Tessier, who's now with EXP, and Lee and Ron were talking. I was coaching Lee at the time. Lee was doing half the number of transactions but making tons of money and buying real estate investment property. And they had a conversation. Ron came into coaching with us. And the first thing we did is we fired everybody on his team. Because he had a business model that every time he sold a house, he lost $1,000. Every time he sold a house, he lost $1,000. His lead cost was high, but he overcompensated his agents. And so because his splits were whack, it was physically impossible to get back to profitability. He actually wrote a book called Pit Stops to Profitability for real estate team leaders. And it's about his whole Workman journey. It was really, and it's very good, by the way. For real estate rock stars and team leaders. Pit Stops to Profitability for real estate leaders and rock stars. Ron Howard. So let me share with you some things that matter. I'm going to give you some numbers, and I'm going to help you get to your income goals. So who has the goal to make $1 million? And a belief that you can do it. Okay, sir, what's your name? Brian? Will somebody give Brian a mic? I'm going to talk to Brian here for a minute. Brian, how much business you currently doing? 15 million, so you need to get to 33. So we got to double. Okay, so Brian's at 15 million. Now, Brian, are you okay having a live coaching session in front of everybody with me?
Yes.
All right, so what happens to your life at $1 million? What changes for you when you get to that revenue?
More vacation time.
More vacation time with who?
With my family.
With your family. What does your family look like?
4 and 2-year-old right now.
4 and 2-year-old.
And my wife.
So what define a great vacation?
We like camping. We like being outdoors. We'd like to go back to Hawaii.
Okay. So those are things that are important to you. Do you have your kids' colleges and weddings and all of that paid for? Is it all funded?
It's in the process. There's a plan, but
So
it's not fully funded.
when we talk about making real money,
Yeah.
do those things first,
Yep.
right? And then we'll put some money in the vacation fund, okay? And so I want you to, when we start talking about the real why, I want you to really get into, like, you'll make a decision for your kids. Like you'll go without a Rolex because you want your kids to have a a good option for college, right? Okay, but you won't if that's not a real value.
Right.
And what do you feel? What happens in your marriage when you take better vacations and you do things like that? Will you take some without your kids?
Yes.
Is that
That's
a good?
the goal.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so I want to be able to take my wife on better vacations is a good goal.
Yes.
So I hope you wrote that down.
I did.
And then I want to know where you're taking her and when. Okay. So I want to get to $1 million. What's your average commission when you sell a house?
Average commission is about 22.5.
22,000. Let's just use 22,000 as crap that. Let's use 20,000 as a round number. I can do math on that. Okay. So how many homes do you need to sell to take $1 million divided by 20 grand?
50.
50 homes. Okay, all right. Now, I know you love going in houses and all that stuff, but would it be okay with you if I had you focus on one very specific thing? And everything else you're going to have to delegate. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, now, whatever your number is, I want you to write your own number down, and I want you to follow the same thing I'm telling him, Brian, okay? And so I'm doing this with Brian, but I'm really doing this with you individually. I want you to do your own numbers, okay? 50 homes. All right. How many listing appointments do you have to go on in order to get a listing?
2.
2? Okay, so you get about 50%. All right. So I want you to focus on 100 listing appointments in 2024. 100 listing appointments in 2024. Well, how many is that a week? So let's just work 50 weeks.
2.
So you need 2 listing appointments a week, 2 LA a week. I want you to set your goal of 1 million in GCI on listings only. And here's how we're going to work, Brian. Brian, right?
Yes.
The way that we measure success at the end of your week is whether or not you got 2 listing appointments. I don't care if you list any of them. You get 2 appointments, you get night, you get to get your mani-pedi done, you get to shave your head, whatever you do to celebrate at the end of a week, you get to do it. But if you don't get your 2, we don't celebrate. 2's your number. 2. Now, is that a number that is like, oh my gosh, I could never do that? No. 2 listing appointments a week. Could you do it? I want you to get up every day, and I want you to be intensely obsessed with getting 2 listing appointments. I want you to get up every day, and I want you to be a freak about 2 listing appointments. Like when anybody sees you and they ask you how you're doing, I want you to answer with how many listing appointments you have this week and how many you have to go. Can you do this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, stay with me for just a minute. Now, can you really do it?
Yes.
Okay, here's the bet. I'll make you a deal.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, if you show me 2 listing appointments a week, you list 50 houses, you get the $1 million. But if you don't do it, you get none of it. How would you work differently if that's how you behaved? Is there any way at the end of 2024, you tell your wife and your 2 cute kids, I'm sorry, Dad didn't make any money this year? Is there any chance that happens?
No.
That's how we work. You have to work like your life depends on it, doing the right thing every single day. Everything else is noise. It's crap. Delegate it, get it off your plate. You put a buyer in your car, I will lose my freaking mind. You know why? Because buyers take 20 hours, and you give me that 20, you give me half of that. Give me 10 of those hours prospecting for listings, you'll get your 2. Buyers are time-sucking animals. They will suck your life away. You put a buyer in your car, I want you to feel the sucking sound. I love buyers. I personally love other things more. You love your kids? You show them that they're worth it. Because every time you put a buyer in your car, you're telling them they're not worth $25 an hour. Because that's what I can pay someone else to show houses. And I don't believe that's who you are as a dad. Like, he smiles at me like, you suck. But is it truth?
It is, yeah.
Anybody uncomfortable with this conversation? How many of you have your number, the one thing you're going to focus on? It's interesting, you're listening to me to talk to Brian, but you're not actually doing it. Like, do the work. What's your number? 200 calls a week. I love it.
And it can happen because I'm doing it right now. I'm calling expireds and another thing, and I'm getting 2 a week.
She's doing it right now, calling expireds, getting 2 a week, strangers. High five, I love that. Okay, now, Brian, would you be opposed to me doubling this?
No.
Okay, let me show you how to do it. All right, so we did 50 homes at 20 grand. You did them yourself. You made $1 million. That's gross. That's fine. Every time you get one listing equals 1.5 buyer side closings. One listing equals 6 to 8 leads per month. Every 25 leads you generate, we're going to add 1 buyer's agent. So if you keep 10 active listings, that's 60 to 80 leads. I need 3 buyer's agents. You with me?
Yes.
Is it possible that I might have a formula for this?
Yes.
Do you think I have data that backs this up? 100%. If I had my computer up here, I would take you into my coaching platform. I will show you. Like, I have this on 800 teams, and we're tracking everything. These are the real numbers. Okay, question?
Do you recommend buyer agent or administrative staff?
Do I recommend a buyer agent or administrative staff? Well, so the answer is it depends. If you don't have staff, if you don't have administrator, then you outsource the stuff you can. I mean, I have a team. I have 35 employees in Salt Lake. I have 100 coaches, and I have 15 virtual assistants in the Philippines. And so my answer is it depends. So I use different things for different types of business. We just created our own coaching AI stuff. You haven't seen this yet. Wait till you see it. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted. Okay, so this is really important that you understand this math when you're thinking about creating leverage. If you ever want to get to, by the way, when we talk about your attraction pillar and attracting business to EXP, the greatest attractor is success. And you can tell the story over and over. You're going to get a certain number of people that will say, I'm interested. But most of you joined because you saw somebody else's massive success in business and in the business. Does that make sense? And so I want you to think about, what are you doing to become attractive? Is your business attractive? And if it's all about you and you can never leave and you can't go to all these great conferences all over the world in Cabo and like, I can't keep up with Brent. But if you want to be able to have a business that runs without you, is it physically possible to do it by yourself? And so you have to create leverage. And by the way, nobody should tell anybody else what kind of business they have to build. You can be an individual agent and you can create leverage other ways. You can build partnerships, you can have virtual assistants, you can have transaction coordinators, but I want you to think about leverage. Is that okay? Like, some people have had employees and they never want to do that again because it was painful. Okay? But that doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means you can't do it like you did last time. Yes. Right? So we have to do it differently. So our pain is caused by our experiences that forms beliefs that says I never want a team again. Some people feel that way after their first marriage. But then they realize not everybody was like their ex and that everybody deserves to be happy. And there is someone for everyone. I just had to close mine while she was still in high school. Otherwise, she would have figured out it's not a good deal for her. I got to get them young. We get them young. Okay. Okay, so let me just show you what happens to your model. I'm going to tell you how much you pay your buyer's agents. You pay your buyer's agents $40-60. They get 40%, you get 60 on the first 2 deals they do in a month, 45-55 on deals 3 and 4, and 50-50 on 5+, and it resets every month. I have a sheet called the 10 Things to Be on My Team, which I hope you use. And in the 10 Things to Be on My Team, it says you need to sell 2 deals a month. I want you making $100,000 a year. And you have to come to daily huddles, do daily success habits. There's a series of things we do. So I'm going to create an environment. People say, well, nobody will work for 50-50. I'm going to call bullcrap on that right now. Your average commission is 20 grand. Okay, so you make $20,000. So four times 2 is $8,000 per closing. I make what, 12,000. So team leader makes 12. Buyer agent makes 8. The minimum is 2 a month, 16,000 a month. Is there anybody in this room that would come to work on one of my teams if they made 16,000 a month consistently? Just really quick. Wait, it's not about the split. It's about the amount of money you take home to your families. And there are really good people that don't want to be team leaders. They want to be in a system that generates opportunities. They want to be really good at what they do. When all you do is show houses, you get really good at the market. You get really good at qualifying. You get really good at helping people get in. You get really good at finding resources for insurance when other people are leaving the state. So you get really good at it. So if you're making $16,000 a month, now the reason we have a hard time letting go of stuff is because we create bad compensation plans. And so if I have a buyer's agent on a 70-30 split, I can't afford to give my buyer's agents my A leads. So I've created compensation that disincentivizes the behavior I want from the leader. So as a buyer's agent, would you rather have me give you all my leads or just the really bad ones? Do you understand the difference? It's not about the split. It's about the opportunity you create. If I don't work with buyers on my team, do you work with buyers, Brian? Were you not listening? I used to, is the right answer. Okay. And it's not because you don't love buyers. You're going to train buyer's agents to be excellent at it. When they get a buyer's agent, they get you. You'll help in the negotiation. You'll do what you need to do to keep the deals going forward. But you're going to help other people make $100,000 a year. The way you measure success is how many buyer's agents on your team made 6 figures. You're going to change their lives, help them become homeowners, let them do what they love to do in this business. Being a team leader isn't hiring someone so I can have a better life. It's building a team so I can have 5 people that I pour into and I can change their lives. That's what leadership means. I'm not hiring people to serve me. If that's why you build your team, is because I want people to serve me so I can have better bling, don't hire us as a coach. But if you want to change some people's lives for real, like real, I'll show you how to do it. Serve people, and as you serve people, their life changes. And when they leave you to go to somewhere else, it's okay, because you know how to do it, because it's a system. And they come back. You make it look easy because they follow a system that works. All right, so let me just show you what happened here, my friend. For every listing you get, you closed 1.5 buy-side transactions. You made $1 million on the listing side. Now we've got, if you did 50 homes, you did 75 buy-sides. So somebody do the math of 75 times 12,000.
900,000.
That's an additional 900,000 in GCI after you paid your buyer's agent, my friend. That's how you go from $1 million gross to $1 million net. Is you do it with leverage. Now, would you be okay if I showed you how to do it without actually doing any listings? Okay. You hire 2 listing partners. So you hire 2 listing partners. You pay them 30 to 35%. Their minimum is 50 to 70 listings a year. So now, on your $20,000, somebody do the math on this. Somebody give me 7 times, you make $14,000 by not going on listing presentations. It's called leverage. It's when you're thinking about how do I build a business that serves more families. When you have 2 people going out there that really know how to sell in today's market and they're listing homes and all they do is eat, drink, and sleep listings, once they get the listing, you turn it over to the marketing coordinator who does all the marketing, gets that house up there, and then the buyer's agents are doing all the open houses and knocking doors around it because a listing is an opportunity to generate leads. When you're following the system, it creates all these opportunities for people. Listings is how you stay in this business. Like is there a listing inventory issue? Yes. You want to know what the problem is? The problem is that there's not enough listings in the market. It's that you don't have them. Am I wrong? I mean, I got a client in North Carolina, Mahala Landon. Mahala, her MLS is down 40%. inactive listings. Her team is up 25%. Is there a listing issue in her market? Yeah, the other people don't have them. Okay, so let's go. All right, still have my mouse in my pocket. Now, so we did this income goal. I want you to be at a 50% gross profit after your cost of sale. Now, so that math on that is really hard to understand. What I'm saying is that if I hired an agent, I paid him 50-50, but then I spend all the money on leads, I hire the staff for transaction coordinating, I pay for all the marketing, I do all the virtual tours, I do all the staging, my net after my cost of sale is 12%. And my buyer's agents are netting 50% because they have no expenses. It's a dumb business model. And so we have to build business models that allow us to be profitable. If you're running at a net profit between 25 and 35% net, that's a good business. When you add your cost of sale up, you're going to be shocked at how much it really costs. You take all your expenses divided by the number of transactions you did, and that's your cost of sale. And it's probably 15 to 5,000. So every time you do a deal, you just take 5,000 off the top and then do your splits. You'd be better off than doing a 50-50 split. Okay, that's a lot of math on that. All right, so now I'm going to give you the next piece is probably the most important part of our business plan. We're going to talk about pillars of income. Oh yeah, take a picture of this. It's about to go away. By the way, your coaches have all this. We will help you with all of this. I have contracts for everything, like everything. So as I'm talking today, how many of you are feeling like you wish you had somebody in your life that was actually like helping you like this? Like thinking about the business, thinking strategically, looking 6 months down from now. Okay, so that's what we do. And we've got a couple different ways of doing it. I have a group right now. Is anybody in here in my group coaching with Brent Gove? Oh yeah, okay. So we've got a few of you that signed up. Where were we? Where did you sign up? At Build. So we've got a group of about 40 people that are going through as a group in a group coaching. I'm doing this myself, where every 2 weeks we have every 2 weeks we have a call. We do a concept and a system, then we do accountability on it. Like if you want to get into it, just get into it. It's not expensive. I don't know. It's like $300 or $400. It's not expensive. And then if you want really, if you're already making a couple $100,000 a year and up, and you want to start creating leverage and build your team, then just do a coaching consultation, and we'll talk about what it looks like to work with us and see if we're a fit, okay? That's the whole sales pitch. If you want some help, we'll help you. Okay, here's your deal. Pillars of income. This is something that is different than what you might think it is. How many of you wear a badge of honor and tell everybody how proud you are that all your business comes from referrals? You know what I'm talking about? A by referral only business. Now, I'm a big fan of Brian Buffini, by the way. He teaches a great pillar called creating a referral business. The problem is that when you build a business about you and it's only about you, when you go away, your business has no value because you are the center of it. And so while I want you to do everything to build that pillar, like if you're making $300,000 a year with your sphere, I want you to build 3 other pillars equal to that one, so that no single pillar represents more than 25% of your revenue. So the way we do this is I say, okay, so Brian, if I'm talking to you again, you've got to generate 2 listing appointments a week. And so I want you to build 4 pillars, and you have to show me in each pillar how you can generate 2 listing appointments per week. 2 listing appointments a week. So this could be your sphere of influence. This could be expireds and FSBOs. This could be Zillow Flex. I hate Zillow. This could be door knocking. It could be geographic farming. It could be your National Pet Society. Like, it doesn't matter to me. We can come up. It could be new construction. It could be remodels. It could be get 10 investors that have properties that they turn always, right? But each one of your 4 pillars has to be able to be broken down to show me and demonstrate how you can generate 100% of your goal in each one of the pillars. And then we're gonna work each pillar as if it's the only thing we do. So Brian, are you thinking about that? You got to get 2 appointments a week. If you have 4 pillars and you work all of them, what do you think your chances of success are going to be?
Hi.
100%. You're going to hit 100% of it in one pillar, 20% in another, 40% in another. What would happen to your business if you ended up doing 4 listing appointments a week?
It would be great.
It would double.
Yeah.
It would go 2 million to 4 million overnight. Like, it would be crazy. The problem is we spend 70 or 80% of our day doing the miscellaneous tasks associated with the business, and hardly any of our time focusing on the one thing that is the most important. And that's all I want. If you get nothing else out of today, I want you to be so clear on your one thing. What is that one thing? What's the one thing? All right, once you build your 4 pillars, then you're going to create what's called a sprint. Now, we use a process called Agile, and if I had my computer up front, I'd show you this. Agile is intense because it's how the busy people get it all done. So go to the very back of your business plan, and you'll say action plan worksheet. Yep, that says sprint. Each one of your pillars has to have its own sprint where you write down, like, to the ridiculous. So let's say you pick geographic farming. You say, okay, I got to identify a farm. It's going to have some very specific things in it. So if you have access to our online training, there's a program called SLAM, Listing Agent Mastery. You have access to that? So I want you to get into Listing Agent Mastery, and I want you to go through it. Nobody even contributed to that program unless they list 250 houses a year. And so there's no bullcrap in there. I didn't build it for CE credits. Okay? It's what do you do before, during, and after? How do we find it? And just copy them. And like, you might have a different opinion of what works and doesn't. When you do more than 250, I'd be interested in your opinion. Until then, just do it my way. Okay, now I'm saying that with love, right? Because we all, everybody says to me, there's 2 things I hear in every market. I know, Verl, but our market's different. And the other thing I hear is, but they really need me. I mean, people get me because I'm special. And neither one of those things are true. Nobody actually cares about you, and your market's not that different. I mean, I care about you. Okay, this is an S. She's totally a high S in the disc. I'm like, nobody cares about you? She's like, oh, no, that is no. I mean, some people love you. But your clients care about themselves. Remember who they care about. They're buying and selling a house because of them, not you. You are a tool in the process. Hopefully you're a very good tool. Oh my gosh, is this hard? Am I hurting your feelings? Is it true? Like, understand your role. Like, my role as a real estate agent is put my clients in the best position to make the right decision for their family. I want the best informed client in the transaction so that we win. I'm not a dual agent. I don't represent both sides. Whoever my client is in that moment, that's who I work for, and my job is to put them in the best position to make a decision. And you only do that by being great at the business and being smart and doing your research and understanding the market and knowing the data and having relationships with lenders that can get deals done. You don't get there by being an average agent that's also a realtor. Like, I'm not, like, this whole class action lawsuit, let me tell you who it's about. It's about agents who never understood how to sell their value. And so when they went into a transaction and the buyer said, can you lower your price? They said, my broker won't let me, because they don't know how to sell the services they provide. So they deferred it to their broker and said it wasn't negotiable. That's the problem we have. And so in the absence of value, price will always be the objection. And so unless you understand how to articulate your value, it's a whole other seminar. This has to be detailed on all 4 pillars. You got that? Okay, so Brian, when can you have this to me?
I'm meeting my coach next week.
Good.
With Workman.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you signed up?
I've been with 16 months now, and my business is up 25% since I signed
I love
up.
that. Who's your coach?
Dominic Calismo.
Oh, Dom and Ellie. They just had a baby.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. And they're very sharp.
They are.
And so when you meet with them, I want you to tell them what we talked about. Your business is 100% listings. You freaking put a buyer in your car? Like, I'll get Ellie on the phone. Dom's easy.
Yes, he is, compared to her.
Dom's pretty easy, man. We're not dealing with that. Oh, I'm glad I picked you, man. Okay, so we're going to build a sprint. You're going to go in details and do this. I have a thing in Agile where there's a bunch of sprints already done, and I think it's in my giveaways, and so I'll try and share that with you. I want you to do a cash flow budget worksheet where you understand what your expenses are. Do that in great detail. Your marketing plan. This was a good one. This is a really good slide. Okay, so on your goal achievement system. Okay, well, so I want you to do the whole business plan. Inside your training center, for those of you who have access to it, in the business planning section, it's a whole week. And we get into each of these things and show you how to really break down and do it in details. On your goals, here's what's important about this sheet. So when you set your goal, I want you to have 5 very specific personal goals for the year and 5 very specific business goals. An example of a personal goal. Let me give you one of mine. Okay, here's a goal. I love this one. Lose weight. Is that a goal? Oh, you already hit it. I lost an ounce. Well, so you got to be specific with your goal. I got to lose how much, by when, right? It's not just, you got to be specific. People say SMART goals. Okay, so I think this is kind of crap. I'm sorry, I'm going to break. It's even on my sheet, SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay, I don't want you to set realistic goals. I want you to set goals beyond what you think is possible. I call it failing up. Like, I just took Brian through an exercise where he took his goal from 1 million, and I showed him how to hit 2 million just by not working buyers and getting 2 appointments a week. And then I said, what if you just got 1 a day and went to 4 appointments a week and you did 4 million? I showed him how to double, and he didn't even know that I was doing that to him. Is that a real goal? No, a lot of people say it's not realistic. I don't care. What if you only hit 2 million instead of 1, instead of 3? I call it failing up. If you hit your goals all the time, you're a sandbagger. Stop setting such low goals. Like, man, I'm telling you what, the greatest people in the world will tell you the reason they're good is because of all the times they fail, not because of all the times they won. I think we're raising a generation of losers by making them all think they're winners all the time. Instead of telling them, no, you suck, you got to practice. This whole concept of everybody gets a trophy is so stupid. I took my kids out of rec sports because they gave them a trophy. They didn't win anything the whole year. I'm like, you'll play in that team. You don't get a trophy unless you win. I don't know. Am I a bad parent? But you know, there's people in our world that want everybody to be equal. You know what? In my house, we didn't have enough food. Like, it wasn't equal. If I wanted to eat, I had to get it. My mom used to take food off our table and lock it in a closet in her room. Because she didn't have enough. She needed it for tomorrow. And she wanted it herself. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so you set your goal. You tell me why that particular goal is important to you. And then I want you to give me in advance all the reasons, all the excuses that you're going to use at the end of the year if you don't get it. I want you to tell me in advance what your excuses for failure are going to be. I didn't get up. I wouldn't prospect. I didn't share my goals. I didn't go to the gym. What are the excuses you're going to give me? I just want you to just lay them out. Here's what I've learned. If you'll in advance identify all of your excuses for failure, and then on the next line write down your resolve so you can't use it, one by one eliminate all of your excuses for failure before you start, now you start winning. But we buy into our own bullcrap. I don't go to the gym because I haven't hired a trainer. That's my excuse for failure. So what's my action item? Hire the damn trainer, right? When I sold my company to Homes.com, they hired a former Mr. Universe to be my trainer. You know why? I'm a cash cow. And if I died, their stock would be worth less. He fired me. Mr. Universe fired me. You know why? No, because I was never there. I was always out of town. I could never get to the shop, and he had all this stuff. Anyway, it's just a funny thing. I got 100,000 stock options if I lost 100 pounds in a year. They gave me, I hit it. I'm surprised y'all recognize me. That's how good I look. No, this is like I was 400 pounds. I was a big dude. Right. No. Anyway, excuses for failure. I wasn't going to fail because I wanted those stock options. No, they never went public and they never became worth anything. So I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've got millions of dollars in Homes.com coasters. These little black leather. I didn't even bring it. I could throw off. And then write your resolve. Go that with each of your goals. 5 business, 5 personal goals. Give me your excuses for failure. And let's start eliminating excuses and just start doing great things. Okay, I'm going to give you some tools now. So we have 30 minutes. So I'm going to give you some tools. By the way, is there anything specific that you are yearning to get out of this class that I haven't given you that would make a difference for you? Like, Verl, I came here today because I really wanted this and I haven't got it yet. Tell me what that is. Like, I'm going to open this up right now to you. Give me your most urgent business problem or something you want to solve, and let me help you. So think about it. You yell it out, sir. Fear of rejection. Okay. Okay, do you want me to be like fluffy and beat around the bush, or do you want me to be direct? Okay. People don't reject you. They don't know you. It's not physically possible to reject you. Are you a good guy? Do you want to help them? Will you make a difference in their life? Okay, so the concept of them rejecting you is a bunch of crap. It's stuff going on in your head because you've probably been rejected and you didn't like the way it felt. And so stop thinking of it as rejecting you and stop selling. They can't reject you if you're not selling anything. Stop selling and start serving. So I'm just calling because I want to give you something of value. If it helps you, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. If you use me, great. If you don't, I don't care. Like, take all the pressure off yourself to sell. Just, can you do it? Like, now, I want you to think of all the people you know and all the people that have inquired on properties in the past that haven't used you. And do you have anything of value that you could give them, whether they use you or not? So let's start by just calling them and doing that. Thanksgiving's coming up. One of my favorite things is, here's another Verlism, events drive revenue. Events drive revenue. So many of my teams right now do Pie Day on Thanksgiving. But it's not just come get a pie for Thanksgiving. It's get one, give one. And so Christy Buck in Texas, she'll have all 11 of her Kias that are buyer's agents drive. And her clients get to choose pecan pie, pumpkin pie, or banana cream pie from one of the greatest pie makers in Houston. And they get order them in advance. They have to come to their office. But when you pick up a pie, we donate one to a first responder in your name. So every family that gets one gets to give one. Oh my gosh, they get news coverage. The media comes. It's an unbelievable event. We get by giving. And mortgage and title and insurance, everybody participates because they want to give back. And so events drive revenue. So let's give some. What are you going to give away this Thanksgiving? I got my kids doing this thing. My wife found it. There's a company, and they're all over the world, all over the country, but they basically need people to deliver Thanksgiving meals to families. Are you doing that one? It's meal. I don't know if that's the same one, but it's the same concept, right? And so they have all these meals where people have donated, but they don't have anybody that will deliver them to families. All my kids have cards. We can deliver meals to families. I don't have time to put it all together, but that's happening. So what can you do to make a difference? I'm telling you, serving instead of selling will skyrocket everything you've ever thought about business. Okay. And then, so now, sir, I told you to get over it, right? Stop selling. If you're not selling, can they reject you? They're rejecting the concept of you. Because nobody's going to reject you, man. You're a good guy. Get over and give me a hug, right? I want to give you a hug. Like, it's not personal. It's they have had a bad experience with somebody who was too aggressive with them. You know that people would rather give up sex for a month than negotiate their own car deal? Okay, I wish I could see all of your body language. I wish you could see all of it. That's the consumer. That's how the consumer feels about negotiation on a car. How do you think they feel about a house? And this whole class action lawsuit is putting buyers in a position where they think they don't need representation. And the buyers don't feel that way. And who it's going to hurt is the most underserved communities. It's going to hurt our minority communities. It's going to hurt people that are first-time home buyers, right? Because they don't have representation of people coming in to help them. And that's a bunch of crap. And I don't believe the DOJ is going to let that happen, but that's just me. I think that what you're going to see is the way we message changes. Okay, I'm going to give you a few things. I'm going to try and give you 3 or 4 tools right now. I'm going to teach you how to use it. I'm going to give you the system, and then you can have it on the download. Got it? Okay, so the first thing is we're in a skills-based market. I'm moving on from business plans right now. I'm getting into action. You got to leave here with some money-making activities. Everybody good with that? All right, how many of you have buyers that have been sitting on the sidelines since interest rates went up? Can't afford the house I want right now. Here's the dialogue. Have you heard about my interest rate offset program? Have you? You've heard about it. Brian, if you haven't heard about it, I'm so mad at Dom. Okay, the interest rate offset program basically is this. Here's the system. It tells a story about a realtor who was looking at their clients and they were really stressed out because they couldn't get them off the fence. And so he went through this process of deciding what was going to happen, and he developed what he called is the interest rate offset program. In the interest rate offset problem, there's a problem, there's a solution, and then there's a positive outcome. And in the script, it uses emotional intelligence phrasing to get people from feeling stuck to moving forward. Okay, I'll put the slide back up. Here's how it works. If they were looking at a house that was $425 with 20% down at 4.25%, their principal and interest was $1,673. Now I'm going to give you the tool too. So it's a spreadsheet. And then so you put in, you fill out the yellow areas. The current rates are 6.25, 7.25, 8.25, doesn't even matter what they are. The new principal and interest is $2,093. The additional cost of that home is the difference between those two payments over the next 7 years. We know that every 5 to 7 years, people do what? They either move or they're going to be able to refinance at a lower rate. So we don't have to offset a 30-year mortgage. We only have to offset that difference for 7 years. So we took the difference, which is $30,000, $35,000, and my job as your agent in the negotiation is to offset as much of that $35,000 as I possibly can. There's different ways we have to do it. We can get interest rate buydowns from the lender. We can get seller concessions, right? And so I'm not promising that I'm going to get you all of this. I'm just saying if I could, would you start looking at homes again? Would you? Great. Well, here's a couple we should look at right now. It's called the interest rate offset. There's a couple things that are important. Number one, it's proprietary language that separates you from the other agents that are messaging. Use the name. It's called, oh, have you heard about my interest rate offset? Everybody in your database should get a phone call from you saying, you know, happy Thanksgiving. I'm just grateful to have a relationship with you. I hope things are going well. Oh, by the way, have you heard about our interest rate offset? No. Well, a lot of people think they can't buy a house right now, but we have a whole system called the interest rate offset. I'm happy to send that to you, and you can share it with anybody you know. You're going to serve regardless of the opportunity. Just give it away, okay? And then we have a script for it where you actually practice it and role play it with your clients. By the way, we do live role play calls every Thursday. Okay, that's the interest rate, and then we actually give you coaching assignments and things like that. Okay, so that's the interest rate offset. Let me give you the next one. Okay, so now one of the big challenges is contingent sales. We didn't deal with that a couple years ago. Now we have contingencies, don't we? People want to buy a property, but only if they can what? Right, so have you heard about my verified contingency sell program? As a listing agent, what do you have that's different than everybody else? Well, when an offer comes in that's contingent upon the sale of another property, we put it through what's called the Verified Contingency Sell Program. And it's not only a system, but it's a system that goes through, has an absolute checklist on all the things we take an offer through to verify that it has the potential of selling so that you can decide whether or not you want to accept the contingent sell. Here's the thing, guys. I know you already do this, right? You tell your client, well, let me look at it. I'll pull up the comps. I'll see if it's sellable. But you haven't given it a name and you don't market it as proprietary to you. So when you want to increase your value instead of decreasing your price, you have to give something that nobody else is offering. So give your verified contingency sell program. As a buyer's agent, I have the same checklist and the same system for the buyer's agent who's presenting a contingent offer. So what are you presenting? We used to do pictures of the family. They get all mad at us now. We can't do that. So what are you doing? So now I have a verified contingency sell program. I'm going to present my offer, and then here's the verified contingency sell program that's gone through and done all these data and checklists. You're welcome to check it. Now look at my offer. Is anybody else presenting with a verified contingency sell? You got to be different. By the way, when someone says, as a buyer's agent, I heard nobody gets paid as a buyer's agent anymore. Well, you haven't seen my verified contingency sell. Can you buy a house without selling yours? No. Well, we need to put you in a position where you're able to actually win in a listing situation going after a property when there's lots of other people that have the same situation or cash. Have you heard about my verified contingent sell? Yeah, most buyer's agents don't know about it, but it's special with us. Can you do it for less? In the absence of value, price is always the objection. I believe in Ron Popeil. Just give them more knives. You think I'm kidding? Oh my gosh, have you ever watched Ron Popeil on TV? He is my favorite TV sales guy. First thing he does is he's figured out how to do pain. He brings up a big red ripe tomato and he takes it out and he puts it on a cutting board and he gets a knife out like we all have in our kitchen. And he starts to cut it and that tomato smashes on his cutting board. He goes, don't you hate that? And I'm like, yeah. And then he gets out the miracle blade, the Ginsu knife, the knife that's so sharp. He can cut a can and then he cuts the tomato so thin you can use it for a year. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed in a hotel room watching Ron Popeil. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm thinking to myself, how much is it? How much is it? He goes, it's not $19.99. It's not even $9.99. It's only 3 easy payments of $4.99. I'm like, and he goes, but wait. You're going to love this knife, and your spouse is going to say, let me use it to cut this, and you're going to say, no, it's mine. So to keep your marriage alive, I'm going to give you a second one absolutely free. And then he takes out the stupid little orange juicer that you plug into the orange and makes orange juice, right? And then he has a peeler that he goes like this to peel an orange in one easy thing. And I'm sitting there going, holy crap, how much is this going to be? And then he says, but wait. And then you get like the 8 steak knives. He like continues to give you knife after knife after knife until price is no longer the objection, and it's only 3 easy payments of $13.33 or whatever the number was. I ordered them. I still have them. My whole concept in understanding how to deal with this commission issue is you have to learn how to provide so much value to the consumer on both the buy side and the sell side that price is no longer the objection. You know why people don't think their agents aren't worth it? Because agents suck and they don't do their homework and they don't do they're not good at it. Like when the average realtor does 7 deals a year, how do you get good at doing anything 7 times? Specialize. As a buyer's agent, all you do is work with buyers. You're a specialist. You understand more. You understand what's on the market. You know how to get your offers approved. When you're a listing agent, oh my gosh, you eat, drink, and sleep how to get houses on the market, how to price it right, how to stage it correctly, how to do marketing to get people to show up at your open houses. You get better at it because you're an expert at it. And when you're a transaction coordinator, gosh dang it, you are a freak in the spreadsheets. You get so good at doing the spreadsheets and making sure things get done and all of the details that at the end of the day, you can sleep. Here's the thing. A high C has to have their life in order or they can't go to bed at night. I sleep fine. And so I have to have people on my team that make sure I'm organized and I keep all the promises I make. Does that make sense? Because they can't, and so having great people who do the right things for you allow you to do what you love the most. Play golf. No, sell. I keep putting my mouse away. I don't know where it is. Oh, thank you. Are you paying attention? Okay, so you like the verified contingency? You guys want that one? Okay, verified contingency sell. There's both a buyer script, a seller script. I've got both. The checklist for both of them are there. I'll give them all to you. You can have them. Okay. Oh, yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. Okay, so I had a client in my Washington, D.C. class with me, and Nick Painz, P-A-I-N-Z. And Nick was a client, a coaching client. Now he's a coach. And Nick was there, and he was kind of talking about his journey. And in his journey, he says, my favorite of all your shift modules, we have 18 of them, is the stop, drop, and save. And it talks about how to get the interest rate lowered. How many of you have done a 2-1 buy down recently? Okay, for everybody else not raising your hand, how many of you kind of know what it is, but you really don't know how to sell it? Okay, this teaches you how to sell it. Okay? And so we have to be the experts. There was a time in real estate when you could say, oh, I have a really good lender, I don't really know anything about that. Your value diminishes when you do that. Now, because you know it. Oh, yeah, she says, I just make stuff up and it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Well, you're kind of kidding, but you're kind of not. Right. Okay, so stop, drop, save basically talks about, so my first house was a 2-1 buy down. I couldn't afford to get in the home. It was $56,500. 6.25 the first year, 7.25 the second year, 8.25 the third year. I couldn't qualify at 8.25, but I could qualify at 6.25. A 2-1 buy down, basically I bought the rate down for 3 years, so the first year in the home, I qualified at the lower rate, anticipating my income would go up, and it absolutely did. So understanding how to talk about the stop, hey, instead of getting out of the market, have you heard about our stop, drop, and save program? It allows you to qualify at a lower rate by putting some things in the transaction that allow us to buy the rate down. Would you like to know more about that? So we give you the script. By the way, if we get you into a house where you're qualifying at rates that were 2 years ago, would you be more open to looking at properties today? That's good. Right. So the dialogue I'm using is open. I just want you to be open to the possibility. A lot of people think they're priced out of the market because of rates, and they just aren't. But we're not communicating to them, and we're not teaching them how to do it. You know why? Because we don't know. And it's okay, but it's not really okay because we've moved into a skills-based market. And so the agents with the skills that are focused on coaching and training and personal development that are really getting better skills are the ones that are going to win in the marketplace. Your clients don't need you to say, I don't know, I'll check on it. It's a skills-based market. If you're getting ready to go to jail, are you going to hire your friend that's an attorney, or are you going to hire a freaking animal that's a criminal defense attorney? Who are you going to hire? You're going to hire the animal. Everybody has friends that are realtors, but hardly anybody has friends that are great realtors. And how you message who you are in the transaction matters. I want to be Reichman. I want to be the real estate surgeon. Ooh, you should own that. And his all-star team. By the way, Dave, his PA, phenomenal. Seriously, after I met with Dave for an hour, I didn't even care who Reichman was. Dave was awesome. He knew what he was doing. Okay, that's my stop, drop, and save. This is actually how the buy-down programs work. You put your numbers in. It shows you what a 2-1 or a 3-2-1 buy-down is. These are programs that are available today. You can do them. The systems just work. So I'm going to give you the whole system. Like, I want you guys to use it. If I give it to you, how many of you are going to use it? Here's what I know. Gosh dang it. This is so frustrating to me. You guys are so excited you're going to copy everything except the hard work. My gosh, how do we change from thinking about doing something great to just doing it? What has to happen in your life to get you to be hungry enough to just do hard things? Accountability. Accountability is a big deal. Okay, let's see what else I got. These are all good slides. Okay. I could tell you about Brooke. Okay, so Brooke's kind of an interesting gal. So Brooke used to book motivational speakers for a living. When I first met Brooke in, I want to say Ann Arbor, but that's not where it was. It was in Michigan. What's another great place in Michigan? It's pretty. It's not the ugly part of Michigan. Grand Rapids. You know what I mean? Am I wrong? You have to, like on the hand, it's like, okay. So in Grand Rapids, Michigan is beautiful. Brooke was at a Women's Council of Real Estate meeting, and I met Brooke, and Brooke said, okay, I want to build a team. She was Rookie of the Year her first year, and she had 2 kids, and she says, I got out of corporate America because I wanted to have a life, so I got into real estate. And she says, and now I don't have a life. So her first year, she went from 100,000 to 250. From third year, she was at 500,000. Year 4, she hit 500. She hit 750. What's cool about Brooke is, on a whim, her and her husband decided to leave Michigan, open another team in North Carolina, and they moved there. And she kept her 7-figure team in Michigan, and she built a new 7-figure team. It took her 2 years to make $1 million in the new market because she figured out how to do it. Now she just opened in Florida. And so many of you in this business model, one of the cool things about this business model with EXP is you're building these worldwide teams. You have people all over the country. The challenge is that when you say they're on your team, they're in your organization, but they're not really part of your physical real estate selling team. And you have an opportunity in this business model to actually have a worldwide team where people are following your systems, where they're on the right splits, where you're pouring into them, and you make enough money to be able to do that. In your business model, this is the best business model I've seen in the country that allows you to have offices in multiple places without the overhead and have a culture of production. And it's really cool to see this happen. Lee Tessier, when he joined EXP, he opened in Florida. He left Keller Williams, and he went to Remax, and he went to EXP. Now, Lee does, I don't even tell you how many, he does 750 houses a year in Maryland. Now he's doing them in where his winter house is in Florida. And the reason he wanted a house there is because he wanted his wife to be able to be in the warmer weather in the winter. And they're killing it. So when I see greatness, it's because people are doing great things. So that's just Brooke. That's just kind of a cool thing. That's creating a business that's a lifestyle. Okay, would you like me to give you a lead follow-up system? Okay, you want me to actually show you how to convert leads? Okay, with any enthusiasm at all, and as a group, you want me to show you how to sell more deals? Okay. All right, I'm going to show you how to do it, but first you have to understand why people don't convert. They don't convert leads because here's the truth. As an individual agent, you're lazy. And when opportunities come your way, if they're easy enough, you'll take them. Oh, you want to go meet me at a house? I'll meet you at a house. And then while you're there, you have enough charisma and savvy to be able to get them to work with you, and then you convert them. And then the people say, no, I just want to know about the house, and you don't have enough, and you give them the information. They say, well, I'll call you if I'm interested. Then you put them in your I'll follow up pile, and you never call them again. We don't convert because the B's and the C's don't get followed up with systematically. You don't have a system to follow up. And the other thing, and this is I'm just kind of getting into your gut here for a minute, gut check, is if you really followed up with every opportunity, it would create more business than you can physically handle, and you are unconsciously sabotaging your own success because you're afraid of what it's going to do to your family. It's totally Tony Robbins. Not really. Okay. So I want you to think about that. But is it possible that you could sabotage some of your success because you really want to not work that hard? Or you want to be present in the lives of your kids and not on your phone all the time? Like there's nothing more devastating than when you're with your kids and you're watching their game and you're on your phone the whole time and they do something great and they say, Dad, did you see me hit that? And you're like, yeah, you totally didn't, you lying sack. But you don't want to make them feel bad because the disappointment is so bad. Oh, you guys, I remember this like it was yesterday. My oldest daughter, Brianne, is having child number 2. And she goes to the hospital. My wife's there. And she asked me, would you pick my oldest up at school? And I said, sure. So I go to elementary school, and cute little Sloan and her friend in the carpool. I'm sitting there, and she's like, Grandpa's here. She's so excited. Just as she comes to the car, my phone rings. And she opens up the door, and she gets in. She goes, Grandpa. I go, hi, this is Verl. And I watched the life of that sweet little angel drain from her face, and it broke my heart. Like, I cannot tell you how I felt. And I decided I don't ever want to feel that. Like, she was so excited that I was there. How many people in your life are so happy to see you and so excited to be with you, and you're on your frickin' phone? And most of the time, not even doing anything that matters. It just matters more than that person. And I don't think that's who you are, but I do think that they feel it. And so we sabotage our own success because we don't want any more of that in our lives. And that's why we create a team. So we have somebody else following up with those B and C leads so that we have systems in place that happen systematically. 48% of people never get followed up with. That's half of the leads that come in never even get a second phone call. 25% of salespeople only make the second call and then they stop. I mean, they called and I called them and they wouldn't answer, so I figured they're not interested. Come on, you're guilty. You know who you are. This is all of us. 12% only make 3 calls and they stop. Now you're like, you wonder if this is the difference between average and exceptional. 10% make more than 3 calls. 2% of the sales are made on the first call. 3% on the second contact. And this is when most people have bailed out. 5% are made by the third call. 80% are made between 5 and 12. And most of us have checked out. So you want to take some market share? 12 calls. We call. Okay, I want you to follow up with people. I want you to call until they file a restraining order. Like, When they say, take me off your list, you psycho, I will give you a high five, and then we'll delete them from your database. They weren't going to use you anyway. We follow up until they buy or tell you to die. We follow up. We follow up. We follow up. Yes?
Do we leverage and have someone else make those calls?
Oh my gosh, yes. Do we leverage? Yes, we leverage everything. Okay, I'm going to give you the ABCs of lead conversion. Are you ready? Okay, now you got to, like, guy, okay, we have 10 minutes. All right, I got to go back. Okay, I have about 2 more hours I could spend with you. Then do it. No. I'm totally going home. Okay, an A lead. I wanted to define it for you. An A lead is somebody you have an appointment with. An A lead is somebody you have an appointment with that's going to buy or sell in the next 30 days. An A lead is somebody you have an appointment with that will buy or sell in the next 30 days. When you go show houses on Saturday and they don't make an offer, and you say, okay, well, I'll send you some more properties and we'll go look next week, that is not an A lead. An A lead is, when do you want to look next week? Beginning of the week or end of the week? You can role play with me. Beginning? Monday or Tuesday? Monday, morning or afternoon? 1 o'clock or 3? That's an appointment. Now, did you notice I didn't give him evening as a time option? It's intentional. I put people in the slots. I'm going to show houses. I show houses at night 1 day a week, whatever. You set your schedule. But I put him in a place where I want him to go. And it's dialogue that I practice. You think I've said that a few times? Yeah. An A lead is somebody you have a what? An appointment with. Okay, a B lead. They're not ready to go for 30 to 90 days. 30 to 90 days out, a B lead, we're going to call 2 times a month. We're going to call them exactly during the week that the 1st falls in, and we're going to call B leads during the week that the 15th falls in. A leads have an appointment. B leads we call twice a week during the 1st and the 15th. Do you do this? Does it work? Yes. Does it work? Yes. It's stupid how good it works. Okay. What do you say to a B lead when you call them?
How you doing? Checking in.
That's so funny. Here's my players over here. They're like, sup? Sup? No. Come on. Hi, this is Verl. I'm just giving you a call. Make sure I'm not dropping the ball. I want to use dialogue that removes a barrier. I'm not trying to sell you. I just want to make sure I'm not dropping the ball. You still getting the properties I'm sending you? Hey, I was noticing something like this, and I didn't know if you knew about it. I thought I'd send it to you, and I give them a shift module. And then I say, hey, there was one of the properties that came up, and when you described what you were looking for, I marked it aside. I don't know if you got this one. Can I shoot it? Let me send it over to you real quick. Let's look at it together. I'm going to try and develop a relationship. And then every time I talk to them, I'm trying to get answers to more questions. But I always start with, hey, this is Verl. I'm just calling to make sure what? I'm just not dropping the ball. I promise you, after you do this every 2 weeks, and you say, I'm just calling to make sure I'm not dropping the ball. They say, oh, you're not. You call me every 2 weeks. I said, I know. I just want to make sure that I don't. And you start to have a little bit of fun with it, and people don't care. They're just glad that you know how many realtors never call them? All of them, including their friends. And if they never use you, you develop a good relationship. A C lead, we're going to call once a month during the week that the 8th falls in. They're 90 days plus out. We're going to call them once a month during the week of the 8th. We don't call them as often because they're not ready yet. And so I'm just going to stay at the front of their mind, say, what's up? What do you say to a C lead? Sup? No. Okay, try this. I want you to try it. Here, you guys ready for some great dialogue? Try this. Hey, this is Verl. I'm just calling to make sure I'm not dropping the ball. I mean, I promise you, no one's going to be like, ho, 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 that's your B lead dialogue. You give me some new stuff. They don't care, right? Just don't take yourself so seriously. Have a little bit of fun with it. What you're currently doing is not working. So stop doing that. C leads we call it once a month. So A's we have a what? Come on, A's we have a what? A B we're going to call twice a month during the weeks of the? C leads we're going to call once a month during the week of the? And then during the week of the 22nd, we're going to work our sphere. The week of the 22nd, that's when we work our sphere. So don't forget that. Okay, I'm going to give you another tool. All right, so you want to know how busy people get it all done? They manage their time differently. All right, how many of you have on your excuses for failure, I didn't have enough? Right. Okay. Would you like me to eliminate your time excuse? Okay. First of all, you have to understand that there is no such thing as time management. Time management is a myth. You cannot speed up or slow down the passage of time. The acronym for time is, that is my excuse. There's only me management. You can only manage yourself with this finite resource called time. So this is called the My Perfect Week Scheduler. The way that My Perfect Weeks, this is a Google sheet. I'm going to give this to you. It's in my download. I'll give it to you. The way this works, every week, beginning of the week, you sit down and you just design what you're going to do this week. When are you going to prospect? When are you going to do your role plays? When are you going to show buyers? When are you going to work with listings? When are you going to do family time? I always block out personal stuff first, and then I put the rest of it in. Then when somebody calls during my prospecting time, I don't answer the phone. And then when someone says, I want to look at a house, I go, okay, I'm showing houses mornings and afternoons and evenings. Here's my times that I have available. And you start intentionally putting people in the time that you blocked. You start to take control. And that way you focus on the activities that generate the highest return on your time. And then you delegate or eliminate the other things out. You guys want a copy of this one? Yeah. Okay, that's called My Perfect Week. The next thing I'm going to give you is the My Daily Success Habits Tracker. Okay, so the very first scroll, Og Mandino says, I will form good habits and become their slave. We created the Daily Success Habits Tracker. The way that this works, now in coaching, whether you're private coaching or in the group coaching, we have an app for this, and it all goes into a system, and we track how many calls you make a day, how many conversations you have, how many appointments you set. We know it takes between 230, well, I got to think about my numbers. It takes between 230 and 265 points to get a closing. You want more closings? Do the right thing. And so what we start doing, guys, and now I want you to listen to me. If you'll do your My Perfect Week, and then you'll use the Daily Success Habits Tracker and track what you actually do in the left-hand column every 30 minutes, what do you think you'll discover? You're going to discover how little time you're spending doing dollar productive activities. And it's okay, because accountability is awareness. And when you're aware that your activities are not going to get you to your goals, I believe that you're smart enough and you care enough to just change them. But because you're not measuring the right things right now, you're unaware. And so you're hoping what you do works, but you're not tracking whether or not it actually does. And so that which gets measured gets done. We track everything. And all of my DIs hate to do it. They like to talk about it. They like to tell you you're going to do it. And so I need to ask them if they're doing it, because when they do it, it starts to get predictable results. So we have to do the goal is to get 61 points a day doing dollar productive activities. If I give you this 61 points a day doing money making activities, how many of you would actually commit to do it 5 days a week and actually show me that you did it? Yeah? Okay. So for every week you didn't do it, it's $1,000. You still want to commit? Would you? Oh, see, she's hungry. I love that. It's just cheaper to get a coach. Yeah. You'll do it too? Yeah, see, I love that. You know, accountability partners are a good thing. The reasons that accountability doesn't usually work in most places is because you haven't paid enough for it. And I'm not saying that as a coach. It's how many times have you shared brilliance with someone to have them not follow your advice? And then they went and got it from somebody else that charged them for it, and they did it. It's a human nature thing. So, you know, I coach 3 people, like 3. And I charge them $5,000 for 2 30-minute sessions a month. And you know what I've learned when people pay me that much? It better frickin' work, right? They do it. That's not how much it costs to coach with Workman. But I get you after you've already made $1 million, and now I'm developing you as a coach. And so when you have a time in your life to give back and share with others, then I'll work with you. And so my job isn't coaching people; it's business development and coach development. And so I'm able to help a lot more people because I've changed the way I thought about my role. It used to be I spoke to everyone and I coached everyone. You know why? Because I was that good, the best in the whole wide world. And the reality is I'm not that good. I needed to start listening to my wife. You know, whenever we go somewhere great like New York or whatever, she never comes to my class. I'm like, why aren't you coming to my class? She says, I've heard you. It's not that great. Like, I love her because it's true. It's truth. And so when I got it out of my thick head that everybody needed me, what they really need is they need someone who understands them and that has been there and that can do it and can take them to the next level. And I started developing, oh my gosh, it was such game change. This is Stacy Wolf. I just met her. I met her at Build. Do you guys know Stacy? She just came into private coaching with us. She started in the group coaching, and as she was going through it, she came to our leverage event. She flew from Hawaii to Florida because California was too far for some people. And she came into private coaching. It was really fun because what she said, you know, her problem was, I have more leads than I can handle. And so I'm letting people down by not following up. And so we're building a team, and it's so fun to see her excitement. I've got to get to a different, Ben Collins is in the program. You know, it's interesting, Brent came to me and he said, Verl, I want you to help me sell houses. You have experts in attraction within EXP, people that are unbelievable, and I want you to follow everything they do. In our daily success habits for our EXP people, I have another pillar called attraction. And so we'll help you with build your 3 pillars. Your 4th pillar can be attraction. If that's something that's interesting to you, let's build it. If it's not, it's okay. But like whatever you want to do, I'll help you build it. Make sure you grab this QR code. This is to get into group coaching. Okay? Okay, hurry. Guys, I don't have any order forms. There's no salespeople at the back of the room. You have to raise your hand and say, I want help. Sorry, do I need to duck? What if I turn sideways? Can you get there now? It's called P3, and this group is fun and it's cranking. Hey guys, as we wrap up today, and I know we have to go, if you really want some personal help, you want a private coach, give me a business card and fold a corner. Like just stack them up and give them to me, and I'll take them, and then somebody from my team will follow up. If you fold a corner, we'll follow up with you. Like if you're really ready to get some help, build a team. If you're making a couple $100,000 and you're stuck and you can't go to the next level, let me help you. I'll just help you. And if I'm not a good fit, I'll tell you that too. But let's just go. All right. So I want to give you. These are all really good numbers. These are all really good programs. You should go through all that. Okay. This is the one where I told you I was going to give you everything. Make sure you got this. Okay. And I'll make sure that the team has it and they'll email it to everybody. But this is like for all my downloads. And the landing page is there. You put your information in there. My team will follow up. Will you stop waving me off? Like, she's like, get out of here. You suck. You suck. Okay, I'm going to wrap with a story. By the way, has it been a good day, everybody? Have you enjoyed your time? All right, so I'm going to wrap with a story. So, I told you a little bit about my dad. 25 years. So my dad had his aneurysm on New Year's Eve. And on Christmas Eve, the night we moved into our new house, the one that I got such a good deal on, and I'm still there, my dad had another aneurysm on Christmas Eve. And there's a whole bunch of stories in here, but I'll just share this one with you. When you're a motivational speaker and somebody dies, who do you think speaks at all the funerals in my family? And so, right? And so my brothers and sisters were like, well, Verl, you have to talk. And I was trying to think about the whys. Have you ever gone through that when you lose someone? Like, why? Why was my dad, who was a bodybuilder that was in great shape, why was it him that had this blood vessel burst in his brain? Why did he get left on this earth for all these years? And I just thought about that. And then I got thinking about what I learned because of my dad. Every Sunday we would go visit my dad. My dad loved A&W root beer and a Snickers candy bar. And when I was dating, and I would take a girl, and we'd go, after I'd dated a girl for a while, I'd take her to meet my dad. Most girls would be weird, and it would kind of freak them out, and it was just weird. When I took my wife to see my dad, my wife loved him. And my dad couldn't remember people, but he remembered Colleen. And pretty soon I'd go to pick her up, and she'd have the root beer and the candy bar. And my dad loved Colleen. And I fell in love with her because of how she loved my dad. And so I think about who I am and where I am in my life, and I think about those little moments. I met her when I was 15 and she was 12. Her parents were like, don't get in the car with that Workman kid. They don't have any supervision over there, which was true. Well, we persevered through it. So I was thinking about life lessons. That's one of my favorite ones. But I remember before my dad got sick, I wanted to play baseball. And we didn't have any money, so my dad would make me read a book. And he's like, all right, kid, you want to play baseball? You got to read a book. It was like a history book. And then I had to pass this test. And then I got a baseball mitt. So I finally got a baseball mitt. We'd play a little catch. And then I'm like, well, my friends are all on teams. I want to be on a baseball team, Little League. And so I want to play Brighton Babe Ruth baseball. And so he finally said, okay, you got to read another book. So finally I read his book, and he puts me on a Little League team. And the very first game, I've been going to practice, and I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm having fun making new friends. And I get to the first game, and I was so excited because the game's there, and they put the roster on the fence. I thought they did it alphabetically, and my name's Verl Workman because I was all the way, VW's all the way at the bottom. And there was 15 kids on there, and I'm like, all right, so I'm waiting. They get down to number 10, and then what does it do? Starts over at number 1 again. And they go through 10, they start over at number 1. And I'm like, at the end of the game, I didn't get in. And I remember going home, and I walked in the house, and I remember this just like it was yesterday. I'm like, I hate baseball. This sucks. And I threw my mitt on the ground. Okay, how do you think my Marine father responded to I quit? He raised his one eyebrow like this, and he poked me so hard in the chest, I still feel it. And he said, I will not have a quitter as a son. Wham! And he knocked my butt down. We don't quit. Something's hard, we work at it, and we get better at it. And he made me memorize this saying. And he said, every day after school, I'll go in the backyard, I'll pitch balls to you until you can hit. I'll play catch with you until you, and every day he did. We'd go outside, he would play with me. The saying is this, he said, that which you persist in doing becomes easier to do. Not that the nature of the thing has changed, but your power to do has increased. And that has stuck with me my whole life. I didn't quit baseball. I played it all through school, played it as an adult. I would sponsor the softball team so I could be on it. And with my satellite dish hot tub stores. And it became a life sport that I love because my dad wouldn't let me quit. Whatever that thing is that you have, whatever that single thing that challenges you that's hard, whether it's prospecting or building a team or following up with leads, I just challenge you to, instead of quitting and doing something else and avoiding it, to just persist in it till it becomes your strength instead of your weakness. There's a good chance that there's other people that have the same thing. Their difference is persistence. So 2024, regardless of what happens in the marketplace, if you'll focus on the right things, I promise you that your greatness will become predictable and you'll have whatever success you yearn for. Thanks, everybody.